Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Kanti Talk Live.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad you're watching. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candy Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. We salute each and everyone as you join from wherever you are. This is one place where we all gather to make sense of our politics as we ease life for the masses. I want to appreciate every one of you for your faithful support and continued followership. Call upon all of us to ensure that we do what we are required to do, and that is make sure that we do our part in securing the country on the right path. Well, it's tragic in our day that so far lives are being lost by the President Ruto's convoy as they race around the city of Nairobi. This has left many Kenyans not sitting pretty, wondering what is going on. And that's a subject I would want us to dive into in details so that we can get to the bottom of what is going on. The speed by which those vehicles are running in the city is disturbing. I mean, where are they? What are they chasing? What are they running away from? And why should they run at that speed? What are they transporting? I mean, this is supposed to be a President Meet the People tour. It is not rush to a meeting in Naivasha or rush to a meeting in Nakuru. So why all this speeding around the city when where the president is going or where his convoy is going is just behind the house? We need to get to the bottom of this. The person who was knocked on Gong Road has now been identified as a British philanthropist, and many questions are arising from all this, and I would want us to look at this keenly even as we assess, is there something wrong with the security protocol of Ruto, and why all this happening? Now, the reason why our concern is raised because there is another police officer who lost his life in the line of duty. And guess how he lost his life? He was also run over by the own convoy that he was commanding. Chief Inspector Oballa died while doing what? I'll be sharing that story. So you are commanding the convoy, you get run over, you are found by on the roadside, you get run over. What is Ruto running from? What is Ruto running to? I mean, why is this the case? So I want those of you who are security experts, and probably you have an experience with the presidential, wherever escort, who need to hear some input from you. I invite you to come forth and speak up. Educate us as Kenyans. Probably we have not had that privilege of interacting with the State House to that close range, but we will want to learn one or two things from what goes on. This is very disturbing, and I don't think is ethical. There are different places where different things can be applied. And one similar such is that you remember the incident where Uhuru, the fourth president, was going somewhere, was it in like Sama or those sides, Ruaraka, and a young man jumped in front of the president's vehicle, and the vehicle stopped. And the young man, all he needed was audience with the president. I think there was this matters of seeking for job. And the president gave the young man audience, and of course, the security guys were wrapping him up. But that matter ended like that. So why would William Ruto be racing around the city, knocking people along the way? And this is meant to be a meet the people tour. It's supposed to be the president interacting with Nairobians. So why should he be in a hurry? I thought he will be able to address people at all places where he is passing. So this dashing through the population, and then of course just so many things that so many questions that are being asked from all this. For example, if the security details knew that the president is going to use Ngong Road, okay, why was there not prior clearing of the road? Why was there no prior of ensuring that nobody is near the road by the time the president's convoy arrives? Because that's what happens normally, and that is what should be done, that the president does not haphazardly travel, and he does not go through a route just like that. There is always security forces sent ahead of time to clear the road so that the president's vehicles can pass without hindrance. So why was this the case? Is it that the president reached at Mbagathi and decided to use wherever Ngong Road without having planned? And if he's doing that, what would be informing that? Look at the life that has been lost in all that aspect of messing up of the operations of the protocol. So we want you to help us. Those of you who are familiar with this maneno ya security, tunakuomba tafadhali njoo ukatufundishe. Link ya kutumia kuingia studio iko kwa comment section, na kuomba tafadhali wai mapema, na kuomba pia ufike ili tukazungumze. I can't speak up and I can't speak for long. I'm still on medication, but I'm improving. Thank you for your prayers and support. I'll be back on my feet soon so that we'll be here longer. And today being Friday, our young men are all back in their nests until Monday. So the weekend will be together. Just make sure that you're here in good time. Let's look at these manenos clearly. Ni kipi hiki ambacho kinafukuza Ruto hataki kutulia, akai kwa ofisi, mara kwa juu ya magari, na kwa juu ya magari maisha yanapotea, watu wanaangamizwa, they are run over by the presidential's convoy. What is chasing Ruto? As the West Africa proverb goes, when you say a toad in the afternoon, it is either chasing something or something is chasing it. Somebody tell me what is chasing Ruto, or what is Ruto chasing in the city? Because that speed, 120 plus on Ngong Road, I mean, what is it that you're looking for? Where are you rushing to? What are you rushing to go and do that you have to pass with that alarming speed? And you know very well the road is busy, and you know very well the road has many wherever tributaries that wherever joining roads that are there. So why all these lapses in the protocol and the movement of the president? Nataka hiyo majibu tafadhali, tunapoanza mazungumzo haya, na kukaribisha kwa moyo mkunjufu. Tafadhali tumakinike. Nashukuru wale ambao mnatujoin kwa TikTok, tafadhali share live, like video, tumakinike tu, tuwajibike katika sehemu yetu ambayo tumeshikilia, na wale mnatufuata kwa YouTube vivo hivyo, na pia tunakuomba kama uja subscribe, kama uja to follow please, so that we are growing on all lengths. I want to really appreciate all that are faithfully following. The other day we were checking, we're looking at our graph and the demography of people that we are reaching, and it is shocking that the majority of our followers are senior citizens. And of course, the people with 45 and above. And when we checked for the Gen Z, and the Gen Z was very low. It was hardly 1%. So I want to call on all our senior citizens. We salute you. Thank you for your faithful support. And the rest of the, wherever Generation X and Millennials, please, let's take charge. Let's grow the channel. Let's share widely. Don't wait to be asked. Just do what you're required to do, and let's grow together. So thank you all that are joining. I can see Fraha. I see M&A. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much. Let me just play that story of the Briton that was run over by the Ruto convoy, and the kind of theatrics that are being that we are being treated to. Understand that the driver had been arrested and later on released. Now that doesn't make sense at all. So I don't know what was that to accomplish, but it's crazy. I think they are just playing in the gallery, pretending to be doing something about the situation, but they know things have already fallen apart. Let's hear out this story, and then we get back with the other story of Inspector Oballa, and so that we balance this death trail following the Ruto convoy. What is this all about? Thank you, everyone. See you on the other side.
A foreign national who was struck and killed instantly along Gong Road as President William Ruto's motorcade moved through Langata and Kibera constituencies has been identified. The victim, 79-year-old Edgar Charles Frederick, was a British philanthropist who had travelled to Kenya on a charitable mission. As Franklin Wala reports, an autopsy revealed that Edgar suffered multiple traumatic injuries, confirming the severity of the hit and run that claimed his life.
What began as a routine presidential tour took a devastating turn on day 4 when President Ruto's motorcade fatally struck a pedestrian along Gong Road. The victim has been identified as 79-year-old Edgar Charles Frederick, a British national, whose life was tragically cut short in the convoy accident. He had only been in the country for 2 weeks, a visit meant to reunite with the family. A homecoming that would unknowingly be his last. Edgar Charles Frederick, a former banker and a devoted philanthropist, was more than just a visitor. To the locals of Adams Arcade, he was a lifeline. Each time he returned, he brought more than just warm greetings. He brought hope. Whether through food donations, financial aid, or funding education, Edgar's generosity touched countless lives. An autopsy at Lee Funeral Home revealed the devastating toll of the hit and run, multiple traumatic.
The head was completely crushed, and the left chest also was completely crushed. There was injury to all the ribs on the left were broken. There was also a rupture of the aorta.
Edgar's body was left unrecognizable, shattered beneath the weight of the speeding convoy. The pathologist confirmed the grim possibility. After being knocked down, he was mercilessly run over by multiple vehicles.
A particular injury that you're seeing, that the ribs on the left are crushed, the hip, the ribs, and the head, it's possible that he was run over on the left side of the body completely.
It does not in any way justify, because you're in a presidential motorcade, to drive recklessly, even on a zebra crossing, as this, philanthropist has been killed.
Edgar's family, represented at the autopsy at Lee Funeral Home, confirmed plans to repatriate his body to England, where he will be laid to rest. A journey meant to be a brief visit home has now become a somber farewell. Meanwhile, the National Police Service has released a statement confirming the arrest of the driver involved in the fatal hit and run. However, he was later freed on cash bail as investigations into the tragic incident continue. Behind me is a zebra crossing area where the president's motorcade knocked and killed a pedestrian on the spot. The president's motorcade was moving from Langata constituency to Kibera constituency to address political rallies. Franklin Wala, Citizen TV.
Mambo ni kama hayo. Nashukuru kila mmoja. Naomba tafadhali tumakinike kukaribishana ili tukajifunze kwa pamoja. Haya, umeona hiyo racket inachezwa kwamba dereva anashikwa kisha anaachiliwa on cash bail. Ni kipi hiki ambacho kinafanya hivyo? Na Langata na Kibra, hiyo ilikuwa constituency moja ikagawa mara mbili. So kipi hiki ambacho kilikuwa cha dharura ili msafara wa president uwe unakwenda kasi hivyo mpaka inafikia mahala ambapo wanaua mtu njiani? Langata na Kibra si ni kama pua na mdomo. What is this? Why were they running? Mkuje kunifundisha. Nashukuru kila mmoja. Tumakinike kukaribishana na kutekeleza wajibu wetu. Thank you everyone. Thank you M&A. Thank you Mato Makandates. The question is not that hit and run is a crime in Kenya. Ama the president and president's motorcade is above the law. What is the speeding about? What is all these cars for? Many questions indeed. And of course, we are seeking answers to those questions. It is crazy. It's crazy because kama unatoka Langata, unaenda Kibra, ni mbio gani hizi unakimbia? Unaenda kwa wapi? Kutoka Langata kufika Kibra ni mahala ambapo tunatembea mpaka kwa mguu. Na hii ilikuwa President Meet the People Tour. Alikuwa anatoroka watu ama alikuwa anatoroka nini? Ni kipi hiki ambacho kilikuwa cha dharura kukimbiza magari makubwa kwa speed ya juu, tena kwa kutumia barabara ambayo unajua kwamba iko busy? So what was this? Why was this a matter of life and death? Because that's the only thing we can tell of this. Why was this a matter of life and death that the presidential convoy had to move at that high speed and end up hitting this person? And then, of course, hit and run. Okay, hit and run is just like they have run over a dog or they have run over, a chicken. I mean, why should that be the case? And like I said, we had there was an incident like that when a young man jumped in front of Uhuru Kenyatta's vehicle somewhere in Lakisama, if I'm not wrong. And Uhuru gave the audience to the young man. Why is Ruto afraid to be interrupted in his entourage? In his convoy? Why is he running from people? I thought he wanted to meet people. I thought he wanted to interact with people. Naomba mnisaidie kuelewa mambo haya. Nashukuru wote ambao mnajiunga nasi. Naomba tafadhali tuwahi tena mapema ili tusichelewe sana. Namuona Jafeth Mongare anasema thief runs when no one is chasing them quickly. That is true. It's a biblical statement. He says the wicked run when nobody is chasing them, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. So hapa kuna watu wanatoroka kitu ama wanakimbizwa na hali fulani. Cha muhimu hapa ni tutafute ukweli na tukatae kudanganywa. Ukweli ni kwamba nchi hii iko pabaya kutokana na nini? Uongozi mbaya, na kama tutakwenda kuirekebisha nchi hii, lazima turekebishe uongozi wa nchi hii. Na hili ni suala nyeti, hata tunapolizungumzia kuna wale ambao wanaona kwamba hakuna makosa, kuna wale ambao wanaona kuna makosa. So tuelewanwe hii itakuwaje. Lakini hii masuala ya unajua, hata kama wewe ni rais na kuna protocol vile mnapaswa kukimbia, kitu cha muhimu katika nchi ni kulinda maisha ya wananchi, ni kuhakikisha kwamba kila mwananchi ako salama. Hiyo ndio sababu mimi kuelewa kwangu, na unawezekana sielewe kila kitu, sijui kila kitu, lakini mimi katika kuelewa kwangu ni kwamba jukumu la kwanza la serikali ni kulinda wananchi, na kulinda wananchi sio tu kuletea wananchi maendeleo, ni ile suala la kila mwananchi ni mtu wa dhamana macho pa serikali, ili wanapozungumza na watu ama wanapopita katikati ya watu lazima kuwe na ile hali ya kujali na kulinda hayo maisha. Lakini kama serikali itakuwa ya kuangamiza maisha, serikali itakuwa ya kuharibu kile ambacho tumetunukiwa kukipata, basi ni inaonekana wazi kwamba hii serikali haitujali na haitaki kutuokoa kutokana na maovu yanayotuzingira. And this to me doesn't sit pretty, it's not okay. And of course there is also a spirited effort to make Kenyans forget and move on as usual, as it has been always preached to us. But I think asking pertinent questions and demanding for right answers is something we can't avoid anymore. As a people, we need to up the game. We need to up the game, because what is going on in this country is not desirable at all. It should not be encouraged, and nobody should be allowing themselves to understand what's going on in terms of excusing it. Kama vile nimesema, Kibra na Lang'ata, they were once one constituency. So Kibra na Lang'ata is kinywa na mapua. Ni kipi hiki kilikuwa kinakimbizwa hivi kwamba ukiona mtu mbele pita na yeye? Ukisafirisha nini? Nini kipi hicho ambacho kinasumbua? Even those people who are driving the presidential convoy, I mean, were they driving in the forest? Were they driving where everybody is not available or people are not available? In the past, when the president is going to pass over the road is usually cleared ahead of time. Security people are sent ahead of time to make sure that the pedestrians are far away from the road. The vehicles have been removed from the road so that the president's move will not be hindered or ama atapatikana kwa jam. Mbona hapa kulikuwa na watu kwa barabara, kulikuwa na watu wanavuka barabara, kulikuwa na watu, I mean, hakukuwa na notice rais atapita hapa, hakukuwa na notice kwamba hapa kutakuwa na nini motorcade ya president inakuja, kwa hivyo kila mtu kaa kando, the way they usually clear the road. Ni kipi hiki kimeenda makosa na uongozi wa protocol ya convoy ya William Ruto? Kwa sababu this is not just an accident. I think it's a security issue, a security from both ends. Waovu wasio wake ukimbia ovyo, hakuna wafukuzae wao wenyewe, wala ambao mnakumbuka huu wimbo wa Munishi. Okay, so ni kipi hiki kinamfukuza Kasongo hivi kwamba anadai kwamba anaenda kusalimia wananchi, anadai kwamba anaenda kuwa na mazungumzo na wananchi, ili hali njiani anaua wengine? Ni kipi hiki ambacho ni lazima kitumike katika msafara huu, tena msafara mwenyewe mkubwa, magari mingi yanafanya kazi gani? Let's talk. Mkenya Mkora, hali vipi?
Hali mzuri. Hi, it's been a long time.
Ya, mzima nashukuru.
Asante sana, it's good to see you. Me, Bernard, I once, let me just start on a lighter note. I once got an accident in on Mombasa Road. Na nikubondwa, nilibondwa nyuma. Makosa ilikuwa ya nani? Ilikuwa yangu. I changed the lane too quick. Lori ilikuwa nyuma, na unajua lori kushika brake ni shida. Ikanichapa pa kutoka nyuma. Knowing that makosa ilikuwa yangu, I actually did not keep moving. I could have moved. I could have kept on moving. I mean, kuendelea tu. Na kwa sababu najua lori haijaharibika mahali. But you know what it is? You just egesha gari kando. Jamaa wa lori akaegesha, akakuja akikimbia, akaniambia woi kijana yangu, I hope haujaumia nini. And we stayed. And in fact, it didn't even involve police. Tulimalizania tu hapo. Nikamwambia, because I was driving a Maybach, nikamwambia tu I'll fix my window, wewe unatakaje? Akaniambia mi lori haijaharibika, wewe ndio niko concerned na wewe. Nikamwambia, wewe kama utaki story ya makarao, cause wakikuja, when the police come, it might be a longer issue that we need to do, than we need. Akaniambia, if you're okay, that's fine. Unataka tuandikanie? Nikamwambia, nope, wewe enda. Mimi nitaenda, nikifika huko nyumbani najua kule nitaenda I know a mechanic who will get me a new, the back window. Akaniambia, asante na pole sana. Nikamwambia, sasa unasema pole na mimi ndio nilichange lane vibaya. Na tukacheka sana and we became good friends. But see, we stopped. Na hakuna mtu ameumia. Now, my question is, and my biggest question, going back to the question I asked you hapo mbele, on the comment section. If you remember Mwai Kibaki's time, Moi's time, they all had motorcades. And even Uru's time. But one thing, there was a chaser car. Hiyo chaser car kwanza ilipita kitambo, ikawaambia kuna kitu inakuja huko nyuma. Then there comes the motorbikes. And then now comes msafara yenyewe. Na hiyo msafara iko na gari mingi sana, and they were following each other back to back. Unaona, so they're not taking the whole road. So if you're a pedestrian, umesimamishwa na polisi huko hiyo side ingine, magari zote zimesimamishwa at the intersections, it's very hard to reach a pedestrian. The problem I'm seeing with this ya Ruto, msafara yake ni ya motorbikes za bodaboda, haina cheska, wameshika barabara sijui wameshika 2-3 lanes, hata wenyewe wanaguzana side mirror, and the speeds are the ones that they are moving on. Is totally unnecessary. One thing you said very well, Langata is Kibera. Most of the people going to Kibera from Langata do not even board a matatu, because kuna traffic jam hapo Bagathi, hata ukipitia ile side nyingine ya Ngong, ukienda hiyo side ya Otiende, bado kuna traffic jam. So watu rukia huko ndani. And if you're driving around to go to the sides of Adams Arcade, which is somewhere I know very well, there's no need to be kukimbiza magari hivyo. There's no need to kukimbiza magari hivyo. I was looking at how they are speeding. In fact, I was so surprised, Bernard, to see one of those motorbikes zenye zinafuatana na yeye, almost, there's a video, I don't know if you saw it. Wamepita, and then one of the motorbikes wakaona mtu ameshika simu anarekodio motorbike ikipita. Kwanza wakadivert, they went, and the person in the back mwenye amebebwa na hiyo motorbike actually tried to snatch the phone of the person that was taking that particular video. Akaangusha chini, then akaonesha tena, alafu hata all the people were there wakasema, uko na bahati sana, hiyo simu ingeenda. So what is this thing na? And my biggest question, kabisa, Bernard, it's a crime to do a hit and run in Kenya. You cannot just hit a human being. It's not a dog or a squirrel. Ama kakuku umegongea huko. You cannot hit a human being, regardless if he's from another country or even chokora. You cannot hit a human being. You can't, and then just continue with what it was. I know you saw that you hit a human being. At that point, hata kama uko kwa msafara inakaaje, you have to stop. Number one, render medical attention, first aid. As you call for them to go to the hospital, or you pick them, or even watu wenye wako hapo wakusaidie, mpeleke hospitali. I've seen a lady akikanyagwa na lori pale hivyo Cabanas, na hiyo lori inasimama na wananchi wenyewe ndio wanachukua, even the drivers wenye wako hapo wanachukua wanaweka kwa nini. But if you have umegonga mtu umepita, ule mwenye ako nyuma yako ajui hata kama umegonga, instead of putting hazards, ndio wenye wako nyuma ndio unasikia alikanyagwa mara kadhaa. Maybe even the first impact did not finish him. Maybe it was the other ones. Because you guys are going at a very high speed for no good reason. The road is clear. I mean, I used to see Kibaki even go on the wrong side. Lakini the road is already cleared. It's a crime. Now, as I finish, because nimeona watu wengine wamekuja. Bernard, do we have a name of this person that was arrested? Do we know who paid the cash bill? Do we know which judge, because the cash bill does not just come just by si polisi pale kwa ubia na kuambia ndio cash bill yako? Do we know which judge approved this cash bill? And do we know how much it was paid and who paid it? Because it's starting to look like, as long as, especially in a government, as long as you're the president, wananchi don't care. I mean, do not matter in anything. When Kibaki had his accident in Machakos, who helped him? Hata ikuwa mapolisi. He was helped by the watu wenyewe. And the whole motorcade stopped. Haikuendelea when they had the accident, because someone was speeding and they rolled. So we have to understand, I mean, once the road is clear, what's the need of the speed? And where are you going with all that speed? Mimi, so, I mean, those are the first questions that I have, Bernard. I'll be here for just, I'll probably leave kidogo, but I'll be here with you. I'll come back. I just need to take a call. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mkenya Mkora. Maswali nyeti kweli, na lazima tu demand tupate majibu yanayofaa. Mimi nimeona convoy ya Moi, nimeona convoy ya wanaitwa nani, Kibaki, ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Walikuwa wanakimbia mbio, lakini hizo mbio sikuangi kila mahali kwa kila area. Kuna tofauti wakati wanakimbia kwa estate, wanakimbia mjini, na wanakimbia njiani kwenda Nakuru long distance. Sasa hii ya kukimbia kutoka Lang'ata ati unaenda Kibra na unakwenda mbio mpaka mnakanyaga mtu wa wenyewe mara 5, hakuna mtu anastuka. Hii ni nini? And then of course kumekuwa na ajali ingine mbaya sana on Eldoret Nakuru road, where I think it was reported 13 lives have been lost. So what is this that is going on? Ama kuna mtu anatoa kafara, mtatuambia. Lakini
and then Bernard, before nikanyage kubwa kidogo, and then I come back. They don't have a format of driving. You know, they are driving side by side. These other motorcades never drove side by side. They used to stay in the center of the lane. Mali, the motorbikes, they inakaa kama arrow. These ones are just driving side by side, and even the motorbikes are over there. Kila mtu ako side by side. There's no system of, hata kama ni kukimbia, Bernard, you drive on the center of the road kama ni motorcade. Thank you.
So asante sana. So kuna kitu ambacho akieleweki, na tumesema hapa kabla nimlete mama, tumesema hapa kwamba William Ruto ni kama hatumii hekima ya wale ambao walimtangulia. Okay, kuna anaitwa nane, Franklin Bate, alikuwa controller wa State House miaka mingi na ujuzi wa haya mambo mengi, hayo mambo yote. Hawa polisi ambao wanatumika katika hiyo presidential escort na hiyo nini, kuna wazee ambao ni wakongwe wanaelewa haya mambo, mbona asitumie hiyo hekima? Kuna mzee anaitwa Linjiru, yule alikuwa anasimamia masuala ya mawasiliano ya Moi. All these wisdoms are around. Why is he not applying it? It does not make sense that mtu anaenda kunok mtu kwa barabara ati anakimbia kutoka Lang'ata kwenda Kibra. Hiyo mtaniambia ni kipi hiki kinakimbiza mtu kutoka Lang'ata kuingia Kibra? And then of course magari mengi. Hii ilikuwa tu political, moving around. Mbona magari kwa mingi namna hiyo? Is it wastage? Is it portray of power? Who is he showing power? Kulikuwa na rais mwingine kwa hii nchi ambaye alikuwa anampima nguvu, ndio waende kupimana nguvu kwa kuonyesha magari. Mtanieleza. Karibu kila mmoja, tafadhali karibisha mtu. Hiyo namba ya watazamaji imekwama hapo. Nataka tufike 50+. Tafadhali push, share the link widely, get more people to join, and if you have not subscribed, please, we beg you, subscribe. Kuna percentage kubwa ya watu wanatazamanga hichi kipindi kila siku bila kukosa, lakini they are not subscribers, and that's affecting how wherever the channel is performing. So tafadhali subscribe, like video, participate in the conversation. Usiangalie tu, tuma ujumbe kama una swali, alafu tutakujibu. Nashukuru kila moja, tumakinike. Tumulete moja kwa moja mami achangie, alafu mzee wetu Jakindu Bey naye aongezee.
Bernard, nimeingia sahi, sijajua hata topic ilikuwa nini. Wacha Jakindu Bey leo atangulie nisikie kidogo, and then I'm listening, I'm coming.
Sawa, asante, karibu. Jakindu Bey, hali vipi? Daddy Kindu Bey, kana mitambo yako imekwama nini? Okay, wacha tucheze hii video kidogo tu, alafu utachukulia hapo.
The family of Chief Inspector Nicholas Aguk Oballa, who died in the line of duty on the 7th of February 2025, is demanding answers over the lack of investigations into his death. Oballa was reportedly struck by a vehicle while facilitating the presidential convoy at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. His family alleges that the entire motorcade sped past the injured officer, leaving him behind after he was hit by a defiant driver. Ode Francis reports.
As many shots as you can.
It is along this road that on 7th February 2025 around 5 p.m.
into the airport. So he should be standing here, the final man.
The base commander at Embakasi Police Station, Chief Inspector Nicholas Aguk Oballa, was knocked down by a defiant motorist as he was ushering the presidential entourage into the VIP wing of Jomo Kenyatta Airport.
So this defiant vehicle defied the order of the first police officer barricading vehicles from Otawala. He defied the second police officer, the rider in between. And then Mzee, by instinct, I'm imagining he felt that this guy was to create some chaos on the motorcade. So then he went into the road to stop him. This vehicle allegedly ran over him and went. In our understanding, that is a guarded area with CCTV cameras.
The family says no details of the vehicle nor occupants have been disclosed for 4 weeks now.
We are worried as a family that in a presidential motorcade, where we have a senior officer who has served this nation for close to 30 years, such kind of an exercise or such kind of an accident could take place without noticing the vehicle that was involved, and secondly, without anybody bothering to at least check on what has happened so that keen and immediate attention can be given to the victim.
When we demanded CCTV footages, we were told that the CCTVs were giving blurred images.
The apparent inaction by the relevant departments has raised suspicions of a potential cover-up.
Was that he was ridden into the hostel without his trouser. He was in full combat, but only the top. He was in his inner pant. Eventually, when we went to the station to clear of his possessions, we were told that they had washed the trouser, they had taken it to a laundry, and we were given all these uniforms already cleansed.
There is some cover-up to this accident. The clarity, we are not seeing clarity. We are not seeing any report being given to us, and that is it is bringing a lot of suspicion to the family that maybe there is somebody who knew what was happened. So there needs to be clarity on whether there was a conspiracy to eliminate Mzee from his workplace. And if there was no conspiracy, then the Embakasi police station, the traffic headquarters, and all relevant security apparatus should be able to explain to the family on what exactly transpired.
So far, the Director of Public Prosecution, together with the Inspector General, have confirmed receipt of the complaint.
He was involved in the duty of clearing the road for the president. An errant driver who defied all odds and who allegedly was overspeeding met Oballa when he was unaware. An errant driver sped off, and this is what we call hit and run accident.
Seriously, in the present age of technological advancement, a senior police officer can be hit by a vehicle and then just go scot-free?
The family of Chief Inspector Nicholas Oballa faces a dilemma: to push for unexpedited investigations or to mourn their loss with unanswered questions lingering. Ode Francis, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Okay. Kenya nchi nzuri, hakuna matata. Hii inaonekana matata yamezidi. And look at that particular story. An inspector, police inspector, anagongwa na gari, alafu akanyagwe, then mambo yanafanyika vile yanavyofanyika. Inji inakwenda wapi? Mzee Jakindu Bey, sijui umekwama ama umerudi? Inaonekana dadi amehang. Let me remove him from stage. Mommy, are you ready? Mama. Okay, Mkenya Mkora.
Yeah, and you see now something like that, Bernard, and that's what we're saying, eh? Now leave alone the huyo mwenye ametoka nje. Now this is actually somebody that is actually clearing the road, and I wonder what is this thing that is so defiant about traffic that these guys cannot even look at their own. I had not seen the video of that inspector, so this is my huyo umenichapa hiyo nyingine. Me had seen the other one, but I've been watching how they do their things, and Bernard, that's the problem right there. Just being a president, what is so important, and especially just as a commercial break or as a lighter note, especially if you're going to speed like that and go tell us about chapatis. I was hoping you could be doing these things, at least going to do something more serious that is so serious that you have to get there so quick, because you have the whole day. Umefunguliwa barabara. Now you're hitting even your own police officers, the ones that are clearing. And I wonder if these guys that actually, because I saw another video where like wanachapa watu ati sijui toka kwa bara toka hapa sijui nini. You wonder, is it, I mean, are they above the law just because they are protecting the president? Or what is it that is happening here? Because now, naona sasa watu wameingia. Bernard, nawauliza nyinyi wote, how vulnerable is that president on the road when you're speeding like that? Kumbuka hii ni chuma na chuma ina mchezo. Mi hata naheshimu gari bwana. I don't speed like that. I mean, I kind of speed kidogo, but I don't speed like that because this thing can throw me, it can kill me in any time. And when I say this thing, because I'm sitting in it, I'm talking when I'm sitting in my car. It can kill me anytime. But question, Baba, pale mali umekimbia uende ufike, umesimama juu ya gari, watu wako around you, na mtu tu akaamua mimi nishike msinishike mfanye venye mnataka, achukue mawe hapo chini akugonge kwa kichwa, cause you're so vulnerable ukisimama kwa hiyo sunroof. In fact, it's just that Kenya, I mean Africa, we don't have snipers. Ask what killed JF Kennedy. He was sitting in his own car driving, but a convertible. What if somebody just went on top of a gorofa pale hivyo akaamua ta? So what security did you provide by running over people? Yet you're so, I mean, you're putting yourself in front of everybody, including hata kachokora tu kako huko hivyo. I'm sorry to say chokora. Mtu tu anaweza chukua tu mawe ya kuchape kwa kichwa tu hapo mahali mko ukiongea hizo vitu zako unaongea. So what security is it that you're providing by, I mean, doing all that? Let me rest my case again because I can see some people are coming.
Okay, thank you, Mato. We appreciate that. Those are the questions that we need to find answers to. And then, of course, the dash. You are dashing to go and address people. So it's Kasongo also a flying doctor. There was an emergency. Mutu needed his kidney replaced or his heart to. What was the rush? What was the rush? And then, of course, the whole scenario of the controlling, because all the presidential escorts or the presidential convoy is always under a specific police officer commanding different sections. So who was in charge of this particular section, especially that place where this old man was hit? Were there not police ahead to clear the road? Were there no warnings that there is the presidential convoy coming? These security issues, where is the problem? And I'm happy Reverend Lala here, he will bring us up to speed. He may have a better understanding of these operations, but what we are being treated to as Kenyans is heartbreaking. Reverend Lala, how is the going?
Asante Bernard, it's good to see you. Kenya Mkora, long time. Good to hear your voice. Mama Selina and Jakindu Bey and the rest of you, I'm Jambo. I joined in and I watched that video clip of those family members of Inspector Oballa. Really, that clip by itself raises more question on what security means in Kenya, especially when we talk about presidential security. Number one, if a president is going somewhere or he has security team with him, to hear this family talk of not able to secure the video of what happened actually raises more questions to the security of the president. You're telling me if somebody was there shooting at the president, you wouldn't know, you wouldn't have any video clip, you wouldn't even know what is going on? Then what is the job of security? This incident should be on tape. What happened to this inspector? And to hear of what this family is being put under or they're going through because of this criminal, I'll call it criminal behavior by the police, is numbing, and it makes me so angry because if you are in charge of presidential security and you cannot even produce information on a security matter which involve even your own inspector, you're telling us there is no, the videos is are not clear or is not there. To me, that by itself is criminal, and lawyers should raise these issues because this group, wherever they are, must produce that videotape. Secondly, to hear of his clothes being washed when actually this man belonged to his family. All decisions made at that time should have been made together with his family. They should have been there to see those clothes, decide when they're going to be washed. For them to decide to do things without involving the family is a cover-up. There's no classical cover-up than this. So to me, this is to me, it's unbelievable what's going on here. Finally, the speed. Generally, security detail, that's what they call detail. It means there's planning, there's a strategy, there are clearer understanding, discussion of the kind of crowd that will be there and what needs to be done. There's a briefing that takes place to be able to help everybody know what is going on. Hiyo sio kama watu wanaenda tu, yani anaingia tu, anaingia kwa gari anaenda. These are things that are planned, given time, and the people that are involved are there to discuss details of things that may happen and may not happen. So to hear of someone being knocked and run over without, even them knowing, then what is that? I mean, it does not make sense. What is that? The detail means that each and every part has to be scrutinized. You look at everything, okay? So nothing is supposed to happen by chance. It just happened because you're human. But the idea is really, because that is what your life is all about. It's about security of the people. It's about the security of the person that you have, okay? And the people that are around you, okay? So as a leader, as a president, and you're going somewhere, generally, fast-moving vehicles to evade things like missiles and shots and all that. In Kenya, I'm imagining, was there danger that something was going to happen? Okay, that somebody was planned, and then they should be able to explain to us, this is what we're dealing with. Yeah, but I don't. And if that was the case, why would you go to a place like that, endangering people's lives? So this high speed is not necessary unless it's really necessary. Okay, and generally you plan ahead, tell people people have to be careful. And I think any country, whether in the US and other places, when a leader is coming, there is always a work that go ahead, and people that go ahead and do those type of clearing. And if not, then generally generally safe, and you find very few vehicles, not the number that I see in Africa, when actually the danger is very little. There's not much that we think in terms of the kind of danger that would require high speed. Okay, so what we are seeing in Kenya is very, very sad, and it's uncalled for. And those chase cars, they're arrogant, the way they drive, and the people up there are in danger. So probably they should boycott attending some of these meetings till the explanation is given. Thank you. Back to you, Bernard.
Okay, thank you, Lala. We
And
appreciate
Bernard,
that.
Obama came to Kenya. Obama came to Kenya. Did you, with the beast? Did you see those kind of speeds and everything? They even had time to stop at a Shell to gas.
That's what we wonder. What is chasing Kasongo, or what is Kasongo chasing? Because there is no explanation of why that kind of speed should be displayed in the city. This is city of Nairobi. We're not talking about some bush somewhere that the president is passing, going to Naivasha or going to Limuru. Within Nairobi, why should he be racing like that at first? John Mutungi hapa anauliza, he was hit doing what? On the road or on the sidewalk or crossing the road? What were the circumstances? It appears that the man was crossing the road, and it was around near the roundabout. And those vehicles were making a quick turn on that roundabout. So it appears that he didn't have hind side to tell the just gari litokea ghafla binvu. It wasn't anticipated, and that's why we are saying the police that are supposed to clear the way before the president's vehicles begin to pass, where were they? Okay, because
they go there and they are killed, Bernard. The other inspector was killed, so there's a problem here.
Yeah, there is a lapse in the protocol of this particular convoy, because if there's no lapse in the protocol, then there is no coordination and there is no prior planning. Because if the president going to use Jogoo Road is always cleared as he lands at the airport. The police are everywhere on Jogoo Road clearing everybody. So from the airport, you will pass the Outer Ring, then Jogoo Road, and then City Center, State House. So how do you move from Langata, which is on Bagathi? You're going to join Ngong Road. The distance from that junction at the city mortuary going to Adams Arcade, I don't think it's more than 3 kilometers or something like that. So that means that particular area should have been cleared ahead of time, all the way to Lenana, if the president is going to go that way. If he was going to turn and get to Kibra through the place for I think Jamhuri Park, where not Jamhuri Park, where the show is done. If we're going to use that, all that need to be cleared all through until the field where the president is going. So these things that are happening, it is clear either Ruto is changing routes. Labda askari wametumwa kwenda kuclear this particular path, then he suddenly changes and uses a route that the security people have not been sent ahead of time to make that way. And to me, that's a lapse that is very dangerous. And then, of course, why speed off like that? Kulikuwa na tuhuma kwamba kuna mtu anataka kumpiga risasi kama hicho. Na kama mtu ametokea ghafla binvu, must you run on the same person, all of you? Hakuna control system ya hizi magari kwamba kuna ajali, we slow down or we stop. Something is out of joint. Let's talk. Mama Selina, kama ujumbe uko ready, naomba tafadhali ukachangie ama tucheze video kwanza.
Yes, okay, unataka kucheza video ama
Niko na video moja na masaa yanaendelea kukatika, so I want let me see if it is no, it's a different story. I want us to exhaust this one for the protocol and the presidential convoy, then tuingie sasa katika masuala ya international relations. Sudan has banned the tea leaves, the coffee, and everything that they import from Kenya because tabia yetu.
Okay,
So we go to that
Bernard,
story is hii ya kwanza ya.
Yeah, mambo ya presidential nilikuwa nafikiria mambo ya president and presidential security haikui tofauti ya president gani leo na nani jana na nani juzi, kwa sababu convoy ya president Bernard inakuanga na gari moja kwanza ya police, apart from ile ya presidential escort, provincial whatever ilikuwa inaitwanga provincial, kama ya OCBD ama ya PPO. Ya OCBD walikuwa natangulia wakikilia the road, and then kuna ile kari ya kupeana information ya kwamba hapa kuna watu wengi, kuna watu suspicious, so alafu wanajua vile wanakuja. Lakini sasa hii mambo ya dunia hii maisha Bernard, if we are not serious, it is affecting us, because how can even, okay, wacha tuwache Kasongo, wacha tuseme sasa is the president of Republic of Kenya, tukipenda tusipopenda, kama security yake, kwa sababu pia kukanyaka mtu na kukanyaka na kwenda namna hiyo wana endanger even the life of the president as a president of Republic of Kenya. Apart from what is going on with the person, we are talking about the presidency. The kiti si mutu, because the president, Bernard, you can be there tomorrow, Lala can be there, Mato can be there, Mama Selina can be there, but the system, the security of a president, imeenda wapi? What happened? Kwa sababu kabla ya president kutoka State House, ama unasema akitoka airport, lazima wajue ni barabara gani wanapita, na wanakuanga na hii inaitwa nini ile tulikuwa tunaambia wangu ile over. Mimi unajua mimi ni old school, so sijui kama muko na machina ingine yenyu.
It's over ama radio call,
wherever, ya kusema mkuje slow, kuna watu wengi hapa, kuna watoto hapa, kuna animals hapa, but kuna ile ya pati mbaya. Nakumbuka wakati ya Wasit Moi hapo Limuru, unakumbuka akiteremuka Nakuru, pia walikuja vizuri, na kuna mtu alikuwa na lori. I cannot say what was happening. Watu wengi waliona kama ilikuwa ni timing, watu wengi waliona pia kama ilikuwa ni pati mbaya, ile mtu anasema patu ninaweza cross wako mbali, and there magari sili roll kwa sababu wanaendanga speed. But that is one. Career rise, kuna motorcade, isi mapigipiki inakwanga chau hii light. Wana alert wananchi. Ilikuwa inatupatia hata tunataka kusimama kuona tu hiyo bling. Unaona Bernard? So what happened? Hiyo batu iko, kuna hizo kwa sababu nakumbuka kuna Land Rover kama 2-3, hiyo ni ya police kama Nairobi area. Alafu sasa kabla itakuja presidential escort moja, walikuwa naita Cheska, sijui Cheska 1 ama Cheska 2, wherever they had the names. And then now kuna wale wa pikipiki, and then now the president car is in the middle. Hii mambo ya Kenya, apart from the person we don't want, how about the presidency of the country? Hiyo kiti yenyewe inaitwa presidency, iko secured? Because today, Bernard can sit there. Tomorrow, me, I can sit there. Do I want, kama nimekuwa rais, nifanyiwe vile? Kwa sababu we need to understand. And I thank Reverend Lala ametoka. Ya kwamba we need to know what is the security of the country. Mpaka mtu akanyakwe, what went wrong? Was that person also on a suicide mood? Kwa sababu kuna watu wanaona ama huyo mtu pia alikuwa na shida yake ama mental health ya kwamba alitaka kukimbia akanyakwe aende. So we need to put all these things together, because career president kama anaenda Lang'ata huwa wanafunga barabara, na kama batu iko mbali unaona wana slow, wanafungua watu, wanafungua, wanamwambia muende, na kuna laini moja yenye hakuna mtu anaingia. So we need to know what is going on in Kenya. Katiba ya Kenya imetupatia ruhusa ya kwamba yes, we have the right, but about the security of the people and the security of the presidency ya nchi. Kama ma-PS wako na motorcade ya kutangulia hiyo ya kupiga hiyo ngwe ndio wakuja wapite. So deputy president ako naye prime so what happened Pena? Nataka kuuliza kwa sababu sisi wengine tumeona security ya Moi, tumeona security ya Kibaki, tumeona security ya Ruto. I'm talking about the office of the president, not a person. Unajua sasa hii ya Kenya imekuja chuki mpaka mwenye ako kwa hiyo ofisi watu wanaona kama. So I want to understand one thing. Are we here talking of a person, Ruto, or are we talking about the fact that the presidency akitoka police, who is to be blamed? Is it the PPO ya Nairobi? Sijui wanaitwa nini? Is it the police, the OCBD? Who are we blaming? Is it in charge ya kuchunga hiyo security? Because if we don't see all those things, kama sisi raia kutarau ofisi, kutarau mtu, tumetarau mpaka ofisi. Tutafautishe vitu ya security ya rais, ya ofisi, the person, I don't care. But the system that tomorrow, you, Bernard, can be the president of the Republic of Kenya. So do we also take what is going on now? Kwa sababu lazima kukue tofauti. Where are the police? Motorcade. Ama huyu mtu pia msungu alikuwa na form society yake, alitaka unajua kuna watu wameenda through stress. Anaona kari anasema wacha nikimbia hata mimi niende haraka. We need to put all these things together. Ya hiyo inspector yenye alikongwa pia uniform ikaoshwa, that is wrong. Kulikuwa na accident umesema imefanyika Nakuru, na kuna moja ilikuwa Thika Road. So tumekuwa na 3. Actually tunashukuru Mungu kwa sababu kuna wakati Kenya ma-accident inafanyika mpaka kweli hotspot. Watu wanaokopa what was going on. But for me today, I want to understand. As a layman, as a person, ule nimekaa, sisi wengine, tumekaa karibu na serikali 3. Tukiona vile inaendeshwa. Hata rais akienda, tuseme kwa sababu rais ya zamani wakukuwa naenda na ndege, Moi Kunot kutoka Eldoret, kutoka Nairobi, kwenda Nakuru na ndege, alikuwa naenda na barabara. But kitambo Moi kama ni Friday, wanajua anaenda. Kwa hiyo barabara yote, kutakuwa na security ya kujua what time the rais anakuja, Lakini sasa hii ya Kenya kila kitu imekuwa mchezo penalty. Tunataka kucheza na life ya wananchi. We are also endangering the life of the person, the president. Because today is Ruto, tomorrow is somebody else. If we cannot respect the office, not a person, I don't care what you call him, but what is the regulation, Bernard? You have been there, you are not generation. Yes. Where's CNC? Because CNC, they don't understand. But for you, Bernard, you know what is the security. Kuna PPOs.
Naelewa mami, and I share your understanding. And then, of course, the questions you are raising are important for us to look at them closely. But what I know is that the presidential escort has a different chain of command other than the usual ranking police. That means the police that are given to take care of the president and serve the state house, each and every section has a command. Like those who are clearing the road before the president arrives, they are under one officer who is in charge. Like that inspector that was run over, he was on duty and he was clearing the road because the president is what? Coming. But somebody defied and did what? Ran over him. And then after running over him, the president's vehicles were also closing in. And so they did the same thing that has happened here. His story, Ngong Road, is clouded into unclear issues because the Mzungu is a philanthropist, wherever. He had come on an episode to give aid, okay, to people. I think he has people he sponsors in school and all that. So I don't think he was suicidal or something like that. So like if you've been to Adam's Arcade and Kibra, there is this roundabout, the funny roundabout, whereby if I think it was Joseph Kang'ethe Road, something like that. So as you race from Mato should be understanding, is it Kenya Girls? And then you nakuja with Joseph Kang'ethe Road, and then you join Ngong Road. It's
yeah, because you're coming off of Gong Rescos. What you are asking, yes, you're coming off of Gong Rescos, and then you're coming to hit there. Yeah, it's like a funny one. You have to know that area very well.
Yes, there is a funny roundabout there that is you can't tell if a vehicle is coming from Joseph Kang'ethe and then immediately joins Ngong Road. Then maybe if you are ahead of it now, you're crossing from the other side as you now get into the Adams Arcade itself. This particular corner, you don't see what is happening on the other side. So probably the man was crossing, he didn't anticipate that there is what? A vehicle. That's why tunauliza hiyo king'ora ilikuwa wapi na zile pikipiki za kutangulia zilikuwa wapi. Ikakuwaje anagongwa na gari na then magari ina run over the person. So kuna kitu ambacho hapa kinaleta kizaza, and we'll need to get to the bottom of it. But maneno ya security command, kuna kitu makosa, na nafikiria ni kubadilisha barabara. Kubadilisha barabara. Wakati rais amesema anatumia barabara hii, akifika huko anabadilisha bila ku-inform the security people ahead of time wa clear the road. Probably it is from there. If not that, then kuna watu ambao wanalala kazini, wamezembea kazini.
I actually agree with you. Bro, I actually agree with you. Kuna kitu ilibadilika in the itinerary of what was happening. I think walibadilisha mabarabara. Tukimbia hivi twende pale haraka haraka, twende hivi na vile. I think kuna kitu ilibadilishwa hapo hivyo, because on the normal protocol ya presidency, hiyo kitu imepangwa kitambo sana bwana. Kwanza wanakuanga na coding.
Yes, na unaona vile
Nato.
nini mama anasema tuheshimu ofisi. Kile na assume hapa ni ile mentality ya William Ruto ameingia katika ile mood ya campaign. Na unaona vile campaign alikuwa anakimbia na address watu Nyayo Stadium, anakimbia Kirigiti Stadium, then anakimbia huku na huku. So is not walking presidential. Unajua presidential is different from a candidate campaigning. So when you are president and you need to move through this particular route, inapangwa mapema. Kama kulikuwa na watu wanapikianga jiani, hao watu wote wanazapishwa. Like Moi before he lands at Jomo Kenyatta, mimi nilisoma Ufafa Jericho High School. Before he lands kutoka wherever he's coming from, the whole road all the way from the airport to State House has been cleared, and there is presence of police everywhere, clearing everything from the road. Then he will pass. And then the speeding must be different. When you are racing going to Nakuru on the highway, is different when you are running through the estate or you are running through the city. So you can't be speeding on Jogoo Road at high speed when you know you're passing near schools, you're passing near residents, you're passing near pedestrians. You must be conscious of that. So the regulation of the speed must be with that understanding. This environment is different from superhighway. This environment is different from long distance. Now, Moi used to travel kwa road most of the time, akienda within. Hata Nakuru, you go by road and things like that. So the organization and the tight security that was placed there with prior planning, it was always effective. Kama kutokea ajali, itakuwa tu ajali imetokea. Lakini sasa hii, this is becoming too much. Too much
that
in the
I'm
sense
asking Bernard, will it change?
Alafu Bernard,
sorry, hold on.
Bernard,
Let me just finish this. Acha nimalize sentence alafu tumalize. The protocol breaches are becoming too monotonous. I mean, too obvious that President akororaka na wezi wako katikati ya hiyo nini wanaibia watu. That leaves a lot to be desired. Kutakuwaje president yuko area, polisi wako area, wezi wako area. Okay? It is unheard of. So we are not just looking at this particular incident. We're looking at this visit of the president in Nairobi. Iko na maswala mengi sana ambako yanaonyesha wazi kwamba the president is vulnerable. The president's security is not effective to some degree. And probably that is what is chasing him. What is this that has gone wrong? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As you engage, Bernard, please karibisha mtu, alafu like video, piga kura yako, tumakinike.
Bernard, yes, just a quick one.
Yeah.
You see, at the end of it tells us that the problem, we cannot even lay it so much on the security. We have to lay it on the main guy. You see, if he was leaving to go straight to his office, which is in Arabe House, some of these incidents, like other presidents have done, to go work for the Kenyans, you don't work for the Kenyans on top of cars. These other, presidents, watu walikuwa wamejipanga, wanajua weekday njia ya kutoka Capitol Hill or whatever they are coming towards nini Harambee House. Kila mtu angekuwa tu anajua huko president atapita. The guy never goes to Capitol Hill. So hii uzungushi yote ndio inaleta kitu, kwa sababu kama unaenda ofisi na tunajua motorcade yako inapita hapo, then we know how to stay away. So there's a lack on the president himself, because he never goes to his office where people know exactly where the office is. Huko kwingine anaenda ndio hizi vitu zinafanyika, like a campaigner. Kama angeamka tu aende kwa ofisi akafanyia watu kazi, Bernard, we will not have this issues of security. Maybe at our security people wamechanganikiwa because they don't know what to do with it. They're not used to making these quick runs za kila mahali, going into Kayole, going into sijui wapi Madhare, going into Kibera, running to go capture something else. Go to the office, wachana na stories zingine.
Okay, thank you, Bato. We appreciate that. Awesome. Anasema, I've never seen a slow-moving president vehicle since Moi's time. In fact, even Raila motorcade is as fast as that of president. But for the purpose of having a conversation, let's blame Ruto. That is not it. The Moi or Kibaki or Uhuru motorcade, it runs differently in different places. Even if they are racing, of course, it will be faster, but the road has to be cleared and the presence of the police have to make sure that the pedestrians and the Wananchi are safe. What is problem here is what we want to get out of it. It's not a matter of blaming Ruto. In fact, what we are talking about is saving Ruto, because if he continues like this without beefing up security, then he will be the victim. So I don't get where you're getting up with this, because like I said, the president does not pass on a route that has not been prepared. The president does not go in a meeting that is impromptu. Ati alikuwa naenda Langata, akafikiria aende Kibra. If it has not been planned ahead of time and it has not been scheduled from State House, he cannot be allowed to go to such a place. That is the protocol. That is how security works. The president's diary, it is always works months, in fact, 3 months ahead. So these lapses are happening by either somebody disregarding the security directives or not obeying or not adhering to the reality that you are now president, you are not a candidate, you are not wherever a common mwananchi. This has to be done. So if there is defiance of those orders, especially from the security officers, wanakuambia basi mtoto akililia wembe mpe. And that is very very sad if that is happening. Well, Mami, ulikuwa unasemaje?
The country, things are changing. Heshima ya unajua mambo imepatilika. The things are changing, the people are changing, the generation is here. So ukijaribu kukombea, it's like everybody has a right. Hakuna kila mtu sasa. So you know, some of us, we are old. Anaitwa nini hiyo? Sisi wale tulikuwa huko mbele, tumelelewa tofauti. Kukuja kuingiana and what is going on now inakuwa two opposite things. Because yes, we have a right on all these things. But hata sisi pia. So now, kama rais alikuwa natua Nairobi, it can't be you can wake up today and say naenda Kibira, naenda sijui wapi. It has to be imepangwa. And the pangering is the provincial commissioners, the DOs and the whatever, the office of the president. And then now comes the members of parliament. But kwa hii ya Kenya sahi pena pila kuokopa, pila kufanya nini, the hatred of the person in the office of the president ndio imefanya kila mtu kila kitu hata afanye nini mzuri, they cannot see it because they don't want the guy. So kila kitu ikifanyika now mtu amekongwa. How can you blame the president? Where was the police? Where was the OCBD? Where was the provisional commissioner ya Nairobi? The presidential escort? Because hii ya Ruto ni tofauti na yale tuliona. mapresident ama wale security, kuna escort commander, kuna mtu ya reg company, kuna watu tofauti. Kwa hiyo nini umesema, and there is a overall person. Nimesema kuna magari kari ya Nairobi area, hiyo ndio ya hapo hiyo area, they know the place apart from ile watu wametoka huko ndani. So now hii mambo ya Kenya imekuwa ni ngumu, kwa sababu ikifanyika with hatred ile watu wako naye, kila kitu sasa ni huyu mtu. Kwa nini anatoka? Kwa nini asifanye aenda akae chini kwa ofisi? Kwani hatujai kuwa na mapresident Kenya? Ruto ni ya kwanza. Inafika mahali hata anyway, wa Kenya mlimchakua, it is up to you kumutoa ama muwacha afanye kazi for 5 years. If not, wake up in the morning, go get him out of state house, get your own person, Kenya iendelee. This is too much penalty. Hata kama mtu anatarauliwa, this is too much.
No,
mami hata wewe, kwani hizi vitu zote anatengea wapi na hajakanyaga ofisi?
I want us to understand. Order everyone. I want us to have a conversation that is directed in whatever an understandable way. Mami, I hear what you're saying and understand what you're saying, but what we are raising here, I don't think has anything to do with Ruto and his movement. We are looking at Ruto as a president and the security around him, okay? The security around him is not just the commandant, the commanding officer. If, for example, kulikuwa na historia ya Moi alipotea usiku, okay? Akasema bila alikuanga anaenda akisalamia watoto wa university usiku, akaona tu vile ameboeka, disappear, and then he went to have some round table maybe discussion with the university students without his security, okay? Then it became an emergency. Nobody knows where the president is. That's now an alarming. They are almost raising an alarm because he left without informing the security, and the security cannot tell where he is. There is also the aspect whereby sisi kama watu wa security tumepanga, ukitoka hapa utaenda hivi, uende hivi, na tumepanga usalama hivi. Lakini yeye akifika huko achague kutumia njia tofauti. Kwa mfano, tunaenda Dandora tukitumia nini? Juja Road. Lakini kufika pale Pangani aamue sasa ataenda na Thika Road, aingie na nini? Na Outer Ring Road, ndio aende wapi? Atafika Dandora. But now security kama imewekwa Juja Road, okay? Kuhamisha hiyo security kutoka Juja Road irudi Thika Road, irudi Outer Ring, it cannot happen, especially when the president is already on the road. That needs to happen while he's still at State House.
Are you sure hiyo unasema ana change? Because mimi nimekaa kwa
we are not saying here that is what we are saying probability, because the lapses.
No, I'm saying also kama inasemekana tukipita hii njia ya Chokoro na ile timu ya kwanza wakasense kuna mambo mbaya ama kuna hatari inaweza fanyika, that is the security to change, kusema badala ya sisi kwenda hivi, hiyo barabara inafungwa immediately kwa sababu tumeona danger, kuna watu wako na mawe ama kuna watu wako na nia mbaya. That is where they change the lives of the president. But yeye hawezi simama na kuambia watu, oh, today I don't want to go this way, because yeye ajitawali. Security is a paramount kwa kila mtu hapo.
Mami, we are saying the same thing. What I'm saying is, what you're saying is the ideal situation. Ideal situation, the normal way things work, okay? Then there is the abnormal way things were, where tumesema tunaenda hivi. Okay, then for one reason or another we introduce changes without the time to make room for those particular changes to be as for the security to be as tight as it was on the place we had prior prepared. That is, when the president is still at the State House, tunajua kwamba atatumia Juja Road, so kila kitu on Juja Road kimekuwa cleared mpaka Dandora. Okay, then if he leaves State House and chooses to use another route, the security on this other route will not be as tight as the one that had been done ahead of time.
But he cannot do that. No normal man will do that.
Bernard, give me a stab at this, please.
Mami, that's why I'm saying we are saying a probability. Probability means it doesn't have to be that way. We're just trying to think. Because if these lapses are taking place,
why do people always put bad things on like why don't we say what really happened? Kwa nini huwa kila kitu inatakikana at least iwe kitu mbaya? At least everything he does ni kitu mbaya.
It is not, Mami, I think you're getting personal on this matter. We are not talking about the person of Ruto. We are talking about the movement around the city and the lapses that have been within the security sector. It is something that should concern each one of us as Kenyans. Because even if Ruto goes to Mathare or wherever and he gets shot, everybody will be affected. It is not just him. It's not just his family. He is now the head of this country.
But the way so you are,
if the people who are supposed to take care of him, if the people who are supposed to take care of him are not doing their job, we should be able to hold them to account and find out what is happening.
Yes, now you are talking.
Yeah, so let's not forget about the person of William Ruto. Let's look at what is going on.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you so much for hitting that. And give me a stab.
When he was in Roraka, something happened. He was on Juja Road, something happened. He goes to Kibera, something happens. Okay? That is too many things happening in a short time. So we must raise an alarm.
Kwa sababu hata wewe unajua kuna watu wanataka kucreate emotion ama mambo mbaya so that inasemekana leo amekuwa hapa, this happened. Unajua saa ingine ndio sababu vile nilianza kuongea nilisema we may hate the person Ruto, but what happened with the presidency and the security? Mtu anaitwa PPO, the police today, kama mtu ya wenyewe amekufa, who are we to blame? Is it the presidential escort? Is it the regional commander, that traffic officers? Tujue who is supposed to be blamed. How did that person ilifanyika? Where were the kuna ile advance team? I'm talking like this, Bernard, kwa sababu I think I'm wrong. Nilihusika kwa serikali ya Moi.
We are not saying you are wrong, Mami. What we are saying here is this is more than one person. This is a matter of national security. The national security. And we must be able to find who is compromising, okay, the security of the head of state. Because that not only endangers his life, but it even paints the country in bad light. Okay, like when the CDF Ogola went to wherever he went to open a school and dies there. That has a way of letting the world know that Kenya cannot even take care of their own CDF. I mean, we have an army that has been a frontliner in all this, then they cannot protect their own CDF. And then, of course, this matter is being reported. Like now, the person who has been knocked is a Briton. Okay, so the British news is carrying the story all around. What kind of image are we creating? Are we even marketing Kenya as a secure place where tourists can come if somebody comes and gets knocked like that. And so we need to cast our understanding wider than just in the aspect of one individual. And like I said, I was here, I saw Moise wherever, Convoy. Kuna mtu amesema hapa hajawahi ona presidential vehicle ikienda polepole. Ya Moi ilikuwa inaenda polepole. I was in Ofafajerico High School. Tunatoka tunaenda Njogoro kuimba. Nyimbo ikishika vizuri, Moi alikuwa anasimama anatuachia kitu kabla aende. So kama alikuwa anapita mbio hii ya 120 kilometers per hour, hiyo hela ya mkate na nini tulikuwa tungepata wapi? Ile kutusalimia atuambie hiyo ni maendeleo kabla aende, ilikuwa inafanyika wapi? So there is, the movement is not constant, it's not standardized that it has to be 120 and it has to pass faster. It is regulated. The people driving are not robots. They are human beings, and they should know when they are passing in a place where it's congested and they are passing in a place where somebody can cross, especially when there is a zebra crossing. How do you pass a zebra crossing without a caring and you are a competent driver? So these things, I don't think we should just brush them off, because the more we brush them off, the more we sweep dangerous things under the carpet. And when they eventually erupt, tutakuwa tuna ile tungejua, tungesema, tungejua, tungefanya. So kile mimi naomba hapa ni tuangalie hii kitu vizuri, kwa sababu convoy ya Moi ilikuwa secure, ya Kibaki ilikuwa secure, na Kibaki became very unpopular. Unpopular mpaka ile time walienda referendum ya 2005. He lost because he was unpopular. He lost the 2007 election because he became unpopular. But we didn't have what we are experiencing now in his movement, although he didn't move much, but his protocol and the security was tight. Ile unajua president is coming, you know, the environment smells, authority is about to pass. But what we are being treated to, it's suspect. And then, of course, look at the kind of hostility before I bring in Kenya Mkora, the hostility Mama is talking about, okay? Now, take for instance, somebody that doesn't want the president now is compromising the security of the president. What happens? He's too exposed, okay? Now, if he's too exposed, he's much in danger than even the people that are being knocked on the road, okay? So that even makes it an urgent matter that he needs to call this security, wherever forces, find out who is sleeping on the job, who is not doing his part, so that his moving around is secure. That's all we need. And he should differentiate between when you move when you are a president and when you move when you are a candidate. They are not the same thing. And they should not be treated as the same thing. So the triviality by which we treat these matters, the worse we create an environment where somebody can take advantage of these lapses, and that's the unexpected. Especially when you know you are not popular and most of the people don't like you. That's the time when you have to eat with your eyes open and having your eyes everywhere. With this, I bring Mukora. Mnakumbuka samahani tafadhali mamingoja, mnakumbuka Songo akiwa kwa ofisi na kukawa na ile insecurity kwamba deputy president and deputy governor anakuwa sworn in as soon as the governor is dead, okay? I'm told that Songo alianza kutembea na kikombe chake anatembea na glasi yake, anatembea na bodyguard wake, asiwekewe kitu mahali popote. Okay, so there is that level of, you know, being insecure to a level whereby you don't trust anybody. You are not at home anywhere. So I really want us to ventilate on this, and time is already failing us. So please, let's also manage the time. But I've talked too much. Mkora, ulikuwa unasemaje kabla tulete nini?
Wewe unataka kukula chapo yote, but anyways,
No.
for the first time,
I wanted to line up things. Yes.
for the first time, I completely agree with you. I mean, for the first time in a long time, najua sijakuwa hapa for a while, but I want to agree with you with everything that you said. I think Mami thinks we are fighting Ruto. We are not fighting Ruto, but we are also fighting him without fighting him. Here's the thing. You're the president. First of all, who's responsible about that? Those police and all the protocols. Who's responsible about them? You are the one to tell them this is what I have, because they don't sit in a cabinet meeting anywhere. You're the one to say, I came from a cabinet meeting yesterday. This is where we are going to go. This is what is happening. And that is where we have to go. Because by the time they get in those cars, na sijui kama sijui hizo gari zote kazi zinatosheanga State House. I think zingine zinatokeaga tu. So wewe mwenyewe ndio unajua kitu yenye uliongea na cabinet and everything. Okay? So as you're running your blame away from Ruto, I said something, Bernard, before. Why not just go to work instead of running up kukimbia all around? Because if you went to Harambee House, I can bet you the only thing utagonga itakuwa kanaitwaje kabodaboda kamoja tu on the way, maybe na kataanguko huko hivyo mkuja mpatane huko nini. I mean, from State House to Harambee House is a very short distance. Actually, people walk when you ona magari. It's a very, watakuja tu wake complaint ya huko. But now when you go in, when you make decisions that you're going to run around the whole country, and like Bernard said it very carefully, remember Nairobi has 4.7 million people who wanakimbia kila mahali, but if you're telling them you're passing through this road, probably, I mean, watakwa kando. Yes, unaweza sema lack on the security. But eventually we are asking, and what Bernard was saying, we know Ruto, all of us. And if we want to if we want to pretend now that we don't know Ruto, then we are lying to ourselves. We know Ruto. Mama, wacha nimalize thought yangu nitapoteza. If we want to lie to ourselves that we don't know Ruto and we want to defend him now that maybe he's sitting in a better place where we probably never knew or were not whatever before, then we are lying to ourselves. We know Ruto can change anything, anytime, anywhere, like Bernard is saying. They might have prepared to use another route and he can change it anytime. And I'll give you a good example to prove my point or to support. When even this machine of chapati, I don't believe there's any cabinet sitting that was even a budget that had even sat down. Because I watch all the parliamentary and budgeting passing things of every. I've concentrated on watching the budgetary and also what is happening with the parliament and what they are doing in the parliament. An example is that they took 410 from development just the other day to Kiongea Storia Chapati, and they put it to the office of the deputy president for expenses, which I don't know which expenses actually come in at a whopping 410. Now, if you watch when he came up, now this whole thing that is going viral about chapati, it's roadside things. So I don't think it's okay. Not that I don't think, I know it's not incorporated anywhere. But what happened when Sakaja said na tunataka chapo? So then he comes up that na tumepanga hii. So that's a budget that I may change on the spot. So mami, when you know mtu ni mrukaji nini? Yeah, when you see mtu ni mrukaji anakimbianga hivi, and we've known this for years and years and years. So what Bernard is trying to tell you, we know he can change anything anytime because we see it. I've given you a good example. We know there was no budgetary allocation for your machine. I don't even know where they're going to get the machine. And he has these numbers that he knows how to throw up to people. He knows, I mean, these things that he just says, just because he's somewhere and people get excited and someone says something, and he said, oh, tumetenga, tumepeana. We've been saying this thing for almost 3 years or 4 years. Bernard knows how long we started saying this. So what Bernard is trying to tell you, Mami, is that he's not saying that Ruto caused his own accident or he caused this accident. He's telling you, na tumeambiwa pia by big people, that he advises his own advisors. You see, kina Moi and the people that you're saying, walikuwa wanapangiwa njia na their security people according to what came out of the security and whatever happened, and then wanakubali, wanasema, si wao walikuwa wanasema, but we know you can never tell Ruto anything. We've seen it even in the streets where he goes and says, kijana unanyongelesha kama nani wewe? And then he says, tutaenda pale. And the security was not even planned in that. And there's nothing you can say. He told Babu Owino, sasa si mimi ndio president, mimi ndio nitasema. You know, and that is what Bernard was trying to bring forth. We are not attacking him like the way you're taking, but we are attacking him because of his personality and what his personality can cause. Because at the end of the day, like I said, if he was just a cool person to be told by the security organs, tumepanga hivi na tuna utapitia hapa, this is the meeting after your Monday morning and Tuesday morning muli agree we utaenda pale, and then the rest of the days he goes to the office instead of running around. And his security is a national security to our country. I asked a question hapa hivi Bernard, tukianza hii kwenda kusimama mbele ya watu, amesimama ameinua kichwa huko, hata akivaa bulletproof vest, kichwa ina bulletproof vest. What about is assassinated? Ama tu kachokora hapo hivyo kachukue mawe kamgonge. Hata kama mmeshika gani, kalisha mgonga, mtakafanyia nini hata mkikaua? Si alishagongwa. It shows we don't know how to do our things. And mostly it comes from the head, because he's the one to organize himself, know that now he's not a common mwananchi. Bernard, wacha niachie hapo, hiyo ndio nilikuwa nataka kuongezea.
Take it easy, tuachie hapo kwanza na nimlete Furaha, but before Furaha comes in, let's look at this Uhuru's convoy and the person who jumped on the road. Let's look what happened. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we cut it off there. It doesn't have sound, huh? But I want you to see the difference. This is either in Lakisama or that particular place. It's a congested place. So the vehicles cannot move at high speed, and there is that sensitivity. They are people. And the vehicle that this man alisimamisha, it was the one that Uhuru was in. Alihesabu magari akajua 1, 2, 3 is this one. Okay? And then the security people came out and of course collected them, and the Nini proceeded. So that's why we are raising questions. What was the purpose of racing from wherever? Was it City Mortuary to Adams, or from Adams back to City Mortuary? That leaves a lot of things a lot of questions that we need to settle, and the
Bernard,
protocol.
I wish you had the control the one for Ruto now when they were, I mean the one for Ruto. I wish you can find it.
I think we are constrained of time. Let's give Fraha to make her submission, and then Mama will give her part. Na it's already 2 o'clock. Nani ananiuliza, Tuni anauliza Douglas ako wapi? Douglas and the team are not here until Monday. They close camp every Friday and come back on Monday. So I am the only one here. You will have to do with me or there will be no show. Fraha, karibu, hali vipi?
Salama. I'll just put it briefly. There's everything that has been wrong with the presidential tour this week. I live in Eastlands. Everything has been wrong since Monday about the presidential tour. Maybe that is why, in the light of an accident like that, let's not just take it out as an incident. I think there's so much that has gone wrong, so much thuggery, so much chaos, injuries. It's just not right for a president to, and this was happening like on the 4th day, on the backdrop of chaos on Monday, after chaos on Tuesday, after chaos on Wednesday. Really, you can sit back and plan things properly. So for me, even as much as we don't want to lay the blame, even these escorts and these people, there was too much, a whole week of tour, and you can see as a layperson that this thing is not properly planned. You look at him in Mathare, you look at him at Kamkunji, you look at the way he's moving, and the people, the allegations even of the people who were being, maybe mobilized to go to make the big crowds. I even shared, when Douglas and Shadizo were here, I even shared of somebody who left, was supposed to go to Gikomba. In the vehicle that they were in, there were so many people. The bus was full of some people who just didn't look okay. So the person alighted before they canceled their trip to Gikomba when they realized that the president was headed there, and it seems that this group was also heading there. So they just decided they're not going to go there. Ruto is not doing things correctly, and so let us not let him off the hook. This tour for Nairobi was so badly planned that even, if somebody has had to lose their lives, we can blame the security team, but it also depends. We know how Ruto operates. We have agreed that, he doesn't let people work the way they want to. He micromanages things. And I'm sure, some of these people, maybe they are stretched. This is day 4 of movement that is so chaotic, of people. Shadizo himself told us he was on the ground the other day, and police were being called. They were coming in plain clothes, at the last minute. You can see that they were not aware of what was supposed to happen. And then when they realize these crowds are getting rowdy, then that's when they call backup. And then this backup, they come, and it's not like they've been briefed. So even as a lay person, those of us who have had the opportunity to be in Eastlands, today I was telling the people to avoid Jogoo Road because there are some young men on motorbikes who are heading there. Unawasikia wakizungumza, unawasikia wakijipanga, unaambia wenzako, avoid Jogoo Road. If you don't need to be there, don't be there. So we've had presidents, we've had campaigns, but this, for a president, this week was just chaotic. So even if an accident occurred, I've seen people say that presidential motorcades do cause accidents. I mean, once in a while, but every time, even when we've been caught on jams, I was caught in one when I was traveling home. When you have to, magari zinatolewa, watu wanapangwa, people have to be there, whether it's a new route, whether it's a change of plan. There are some people who have to be there to guide the pedestrians. Mnatolewa, mna complain vile mmewekwa kando, but you see in the long run maybe it's because of your security. Badala hizo magari zikuje, kama zinakuja mbio ziwagonge, mnawekwa kando, mnakaa, mnachoka, mna complain hapo. But the bottom line is that things have to work. They have to be streamlined. And for me today, my take is that this whole week was just chaotic, and I put it squarely in the docket of the president. He doesn't need to be out here causing chaos, because if he wasn't out there would not be chaos. He needs to go out there in order, planned, executed meticulously. That's what we want. If you see that Monday is crazy, Tuesday you go out and it's crazier. Wednesday you're still going out, and you are the president and you're in charge of this country. What are you telling those women who are looted? What are you telling those people who are roughed up? What are you telling us? It doesn't matter. Tomorrow I'll just go. Whoever gets hurt, gets hurt. If we're in the vicinity, that's your problem. And the next day I just go. Yeah. And yesterday somebody was hit. I'm just planning. I'm going because I need to tell people what I'm going
And
to
Furaha,
do
he
for
has
them.
not even addressed that. He has not even addressed anything about what happened.
Okay.
That's the other thing, that, even when the chaos happened, there was no pole. It's like these things are not happening. And sometimes they don't even want to bring it in mainstream media. It's the people who are on the ground who are getting affected, who are, because of the digital era, people are taking videos of what is happening, and you look at it and you're like, I'm sure at the end of the day, when they're evaluating their trip and they're looking and preparing for the next day, I don't think all these things escape him. I don't think they escape his team. But for them to wake up the following day and come again to Eastlands and cause, there are some people who didn't do business the whole of this week, tunajua tu maandamano ndio inasimamishanga biashara, but the president also alisimamisha biashara, but it's supposed to be done in order, because I'm sure kienda mahali, there are times when people have to close down depending on where you are, depending on how the security is, but it all has to be planned. It has to look orderly. If it is chaotic, it is disorderly the way it is, hata tuseme nini, hata tukijaribu kusema security yake, sijui team yake, Ruto needs to sit down, look at how he wants to govern this country. It seems he didn't have an idea. If he needs help, he has gotten some of the help that he thought it was the best. I think he just needs to do things differently. If he can't, I don't know what we're going to do, but Kenyans, we are not going to accept this. Mediocrity is just too much. Kutuambia ati president ako sawa, presidential, no. What I observed in Eastlands this week, no, it's not right. We don't deserve this. We didn't choose him, but it's too much.
That's Furaha. We appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to engage, let's keep the focus, and of course be sure to ensure that we are doing justice to the show. And one way of doing justice to the show is liking the video, is sharing to invite somebody to watch with you, to subscribe if you have not subscribed. It's important, and those of you that can join as members also to support the growth of the channel, please consider to do that. I'll be sharing the link for joining as a member also. What happens is that the more activities are on the channel, the better it gets promoted by YouTube. If nothing is happening on the channel, it gets, sidelined, or it gets overwhelmed by other channels. So tafadhali tunaomba tumakinike katika mambo haya. Haya mambo tunazungumzia, na Furaha anasema hapa ni kweli, kama kuna usalama wa kutosha, biashara inakuwa inanoga wakati kuna watu wengi na kuna mgeni. Okay? Nakumbuka ile mkutano ya Kamkunji, ile ya Kamkunji na Jacaranda, ile serikali ilikataa kupeana security, na jeshi la baba na watu wa Azimio wakasema tutajipatia security yetu, na kukatolewa order, mtu akipatikana anaibia mtu alikuwa anashughulikiwa. So the people in Kamkunji waliuza maji, waliuza njugu, waliuza, hakuna biashara ya mtu ilikuwa spoiled. Watu wa nyama waliuza nyama, hawakufunga Bama. I was in Bama that particular meeting in Kamkunji. I was in Bama. So kuna vile ambavyo security ikiwa nzuri, hakuna mtu anaogopa kuuza vitu. Lakini sasa ikiwa security iko mbaya, mpaka wezi wanaibia wale watu wamekuja kupigia makofi rice, kuna kitu makosa, na tusikifunike kwa sababu kitatuanika. Na wakati kitatuanika, nasema afadhali tungeisema. So it is good that we call this thing for what it is and then find a lasting solution. We badly need that lasting solution, because if we continue like this, something is going to get out of place. But there is another angle to it that maybe we'll discuss in the next show. In the mind of William Ruto, what is going on? Okay, and if I can read what's going on, is this MOU is not sitting well. The permanence of it is not guaranteed. How long it will last, nobody knows, but it is more likely to fall apart. So what can I get within this short time, okay, before this thing slips away from my hands? Get that? So he's panicked, and he's want to take opportunity of this thing before it escalates, so that if he has converted a few converts, he has profited from it. Hata kama ita hold mpaka 2027 ama ita hold mpaka 2026. So being opportunistic in mind, what he really is worried about is how can he get his constituency and be able to be secured of re-election. And so these other things are secondary. The main thing is, how do I harvest everything I can harvest within this time before things fall apart? And that makes him, not to settle down. And that's why he can't settle down. He wants to make this. And then when Baba begins to talk about, there was a headline that said Raila develops cold feet. Okay. So when Baba begins to talk the way he's talking, and it's like he's negating, or rather not committing to that particular MOU, it sends chills down the spine of William Ruto. And so he will use it, and see the way he's talking. Everywhere he goes, he has to say Prime Minister, tulikubaliana na Prime Minister, tulikubaliana na Prime Minister. There is something that is driving him, and it's not the security of Kenyans. Is how do I secure my re-election or get support from the strongholds of Baba, even without Baba. Remember that's part of how he operates. Mama Selina, kama unataka kuongezea ama tupatie Big J kwanza?
Patia Big J.
Okay. Big J, here we go. Vipi lakini?
Salama sana Bernard, habari yako? Pole, naona umepotea, umekuwa na I think nikikuja nitakupeleka Kajiado patie dawa ya Kimasai ndio immunity rudi juu kabisa usipate homa tena.
Please. Nahitaji nipatie namba tu ya simu nipige iletwe niende kuchukua.
Unajua hiyo dawa ya Kimasai kuna zile wanausaga, unajua kuna zile fake.
Ndio niliambia niko hapa na Masai mmoja ananibebanga kwa bike. Aliniambia hizi ni fake.
Hizi ni hizi.
Sema twende Chandoni na yeye, inaitwa Chandoni na msituni na yeye. Ukienda huko ndio tupate ile original.
Hizo ni fake. Nikienda huko na wewe utapatiwa tofauti, so I'm planning to do that. Anyway, pole sana na ninafurahi kukuona. Nasikia leo Mkenya mkora ni mkali kama wembe. Imekuwa muda hatujaonana. Mama Selina, jambo. Furaha na kuona na wasalimia nyote. Bernard, mambo ni mengi, wakati ndio mfupi. Ama wakati ndio hatuna, lakini kwa hiyo wakati mfupi tuko nayo tutajaribu kusummarize kidogo. Bernard, unajua hooliganism haijai kuwa na kutoka kwa raia. Hooliganism inatoka kwa government. It has been there since before. You remember ilikuwa 2013. Uhuru aliingianga 2013, si ndio? Yeah, 2013 unakumbuka nani anaitwa Sonko akinunua magari anaenda kuchoma, alafu isemekane ni Azimio ama ni ODM. Ilikuwa Azimio code. So the hooliganism is actually the product of the government. The government ndio wana sponsor wezi. After all, Bernard, there is no way out way kama samahani, wacha nitumie kwa mfano pastor. Pole, lakini si I hope it's just an example. Sasa tuseme kwa kanisa lako Bernard, wewe ni pastor. Na wewe kama pastor, wewe washiriki wako wanajua kwamba wewe ni mwizi, unaiba usiku, unaendaga na bunduki. Washiriki wako watakosa kuwa wezi? That's a good what we have to...
Mangisi Mangidu.
So Bernard, your PhD, that is the level of the PhD the president has. The PhD that he has is the PhD that nobody has the higher PhD than him. He's the only one who has a PhD. Because this everything that squeeze anaitwa El Chapo. Mpata jina mpya anaitwa El Chapo. El Chapo ile kitu anafanya everything since, lakini hata sio hata Kibaki the second term alianza kutumia parliament how do you call govern, because the constitution always, it's very tough and very serious and very tight, so it doesn't allow impunity. So they have to go outside of the constitution to use parliament to get whatever they want to do, because it will be definitely out of the constitution, because the constitution imeka everything on how it should be done. So my biggest worry is El Chapo ajai support the constitution from the word go since it came, so we don't expect him to follow it. Alafu sasa my biggest worry, baba ambaye ni mtu amepigania kitu inaitwa hii constitution mpya na devolution, ameenda akatengeneza akifanya agreement na Zakayo. Kufanya agreement na Zakayo is trying his level best molesting the constitution. Number one, maneno vitu ziko kama shule ziko devolved, it's a devolved to counties. Sasa wakati anaenda kupeana vitu kwa devolved, well, I mean it doesn't, hata barabara zingine sio za county, za government, ni za county. There are a lot of devolved things that now the president is talking about. You know, it doesn't really make any sense. Sasa baba saa zile anakaa hivyo, anasikiaje wakati anaona position yake ile amepigania kwa mwili yake, mpaka hata saa hizi baada analia, macho ina uchungu ama inatoa machozi. Bernard, we are no longer Shadiso always tukiwa kwa show every morning anatuambiaga to type I love Kenya. Sasa naheshimu channel, naheshimu Shadiso, lakini venye Kenya imefika saa hii, you just keep it on yourself because it's shameful. It's shameful mahali tunapelekwa, Bernard. I don't know what we are going to do really, because one, wakati Kalonzo anatuambia ati Wamonyoro ni mzuri. Seriously, nani anaitwa nani, Ruto ni mbaya. It's not serious. The way I hate Wamonyoro is the way I hate Ruto, because these people are the two people who are beating us during our demonstration 2022. Ni watu hata ilikuwa 2022 ama 2021 tukidemonstrate kuhusu uchumi. This is the people who are beating us. Nani alikuwa anaingia job asubuhi, wa Munyoro huyu anaingia job saa 11 asubuhi, anatuma watu hooligans. So these two people, you cannot separate them. Ni kama Haga. They are always together, Bernard. So wakati Kalonzo anaenda kusema ati fulani ati Raila amefanya makosa kushikana na Ruto, two of them are the worst people, and I don't supporting each of them. But we need also as Kenyan to think and to see and think how we are going to help ourselves, because now kama is constitution haifuatwi anymore, wana govern the country through bills, parliament, because parliament is ni watu wa tokens wa kupatiwa pesa kwa choo. I mean, we don't have, and that parliament actually ilikuwa impeached by Gen Z on July 25th. Actually, if it was a good country that people are sober, all the MPs could have resigned and we start a fresh election to elect them. But because of people, watu wako hapo kwa sababu ya, si ati kwa sababu ya kunini wa Kenya, but for their stomach. Bernard, sometimes I feel so sad. Ile pride tulikuwaga nayo outside here. Ukiulizwa unaambiwa unatoka Africa, anasema no, I come from Kenya. Siku hizi hakuna tumekunja mkia, you just hide. Mtu akiuliza hiyo unasema I come from Africa. There is a time that yani hata watu huko nje wanajua Kenya ni nchi gani. So we have to return that glory of our country back to it. We have to return it, and the way only we can return it is that we do things the right way. Kama baba amefanya makosa, we tell him, Baba, this is wrong. That's where Zakai went wrong, because nobody in his UDA tells him that he's wrong. That's why he's going like that. But for us, we always say Baba is right, but this time he was wrong. We cannot go like this. We need to be governed by the rule of law and the constitution itself. Anyway, wacha kwanza nifikisha hapo, maybe I will get another chance. Thank you so much, Bernard.
Okay, so thank you, Big J. We appreciate that. The rule of law, I think we should be talking about the return to the rule of law, because we left that rule of law long time ago. And so the return to the rule of law will be a process. And that process will have, of course, it may end up being messy, noisy, and having casualties. And so our country is not in a good place at all. And then, of course, you know, when the country flips into a survival mode, nothing is done the way it should be done, because everybody is now, or rather, the people in power, the only thing they're looking for is how to survive. And the way it's looking is like They're now surviving one day at a time. One day at a time. If they pull through 24 hours and they succeeded, they thank God that they pulled through because of the many quick changes that are taking place. But that aside, I think under the William Ruto regime, Kenya has hit its lowest place in terms of her international standing and, of course, capacity to take care of her own people as a country. We have not done well at all. Let me quickly play this video and then bring in Mama Selina and then Kenya Mkora. Tukianza kufungasha. It's 25 minutes after 2 a.m. By 3, I'll be getting out of here. Let's get this story about Sudan refusing to buy our coffee, our tea, and every product they borrow, they buy from us.
Across borders, Sudan has banned all Kenyan exports in retaliation for Kenya's backing of the Rapid Support Forces RSF as they push to establish a parallel government. According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Kenya exported goods worth 6.7 billion shillings to Sudan in the year 2023, 10 times what it imported. Sudan is also a key market for Kenya's value-added tea, and this move comes as Kenya faces growing international isolation over its stance on the RSF. However, as Olive Barrows reports, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs remains undeterred.
In response to what it's described as an act of hostility towards the people of Sudan, the Sudanese government has declared a trade war on Kenya. Sudan's Ministry of Trade and Supply has suspended the import of all products from Kenya, and they will not be allowed to pass through all ports, crossings, airports and outlets, the ministerial directive instructs. This action, Sudan's Minister of Trade, Omar Ahmed Mohamed Ali, explains in a memo, has been taken in response to Kenya's hosting of the Rapid Support Forces and its allies and the sponsorship of their activities and meetings. It has therefore justified the trade ban as an affirmation of Sudan's sovereignty and protection of its national security. An action Kenya's Foreign Affairs Principal Secretary, Korir Sing'oei, has described as, quote, a gross overreaction. His statement to Citizen TV reading, it will not deter Kenya from privileging dialogue as the only mode of resolving the Sudanese conflict, and that the war in Sudan has already cut into Kenya's exports to Sudan by almost 90%. Kenya, his statement reads, would rather a peaceful Sudan than the privilege of servicing a considerably diminished market. According to the Tea Board of Kenya, there was a 12% dip in Kenya's exports of tea to Sudan in 2024 on account of the civil war that erupted in April of 2023. Despite which, Sudan came only second to the United Kingdom in the import of Kenya's value-added tea, with a total import value of 2.3 billion shillings. Kenya's support for RSF as it moves to establish a parallel government could also cost Kenya in soft power, as the US, the UN Security Council and the African Union's Peace and Security Council, all in the last 2 weeks, cautioned against such a move. The UN Security Council expressing grave concern over the signing of a charter to establish a parallel governing authority in Sudan and reaffirming their strong commitment to the sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity of Sudan, while urging all member states to refrain from external interference. The US, in supporting the UN Security Council statement, also condemned the reported pervasive conflict-related sexual violence perpetrated most extensively by the RSF and its allied militia on women and children as young as 1 year old. The AU Peace and Security Council went further to call on all AU member states not to recognize or provide support to any armed or political group toward the establishment of a parallel government or state entity in the Republic of Sudan. Olive Barrows, Citizen TV.
Okay, mambo kama hayo. Mama Selina upo? Okay, quickly. Mkora?
Yes, Bernard. You see, I like what venye nani amesema. Both all the panelists actually. Big J kwanza ameileta home nicely na pia Furaha and you. You know, when you start looking at this thing, Bernard, there's something that in our African diplomatic relations that we've had since independence of each country of Africa is that we've always thought that the sanctions can come from the Western countries. Yet we do not understand that people close to us are the ones that can actually sanction us. And they're the most effective on the sanctions. More than the others, because eventually we can still trade with each other. And you have to go back and ask yourself, you just had the billions that have been written there, that have been read there by the reporter, of how much we're going to lose by the Sudan debacle. On the same side, we are still crying about the USA aid, which anyway, for me, I don't care so much. But I want our countries to start understanding the economical value of having a good market value between each other. Sorry, excuse me. Why? Because we share a border and we share a market value, just currency difference. Now, when you start having sanctions from your own backyard, let me use an example you normally use, Bernard, a simple example. Baba yako akikuchapa na akwambie utakula, sawa. Neiba yako akikuchapa na akwambie utakula na mtapata ile mbuzi mnakujianga huku na zile, cause maybe mnaweza kuwa mkipikaga sukari nao wanawekaga nini, nao pia wanajenga kitu ingine, which basically what I'm trying to say is that the two lands kind of confirm each other. That it's a need of what we always say, umbo kufungua masikio, to listen what is happening. And this has never happened. We've never been sanctioned by an African country. Even the day that we invaded Somalia, they never sanctioned us. Is it that maybe they didn't have anything to sanction us for? I don't think so. Even when they were fighting, there was still something we could get from Somalia. We did get the charcoal, other than the piracy, and we know who it is. So basically, what I'm trying to say in the whole picture is that this is so bad that now we're not just being sanctioned by Western countries, we are being sanctioned by our own Eastern African. Actually, yeah, because Sudan is in Eastern African treaty. And some of them, you can see, even Djibouti is in Eastern African, but actually people actually went for the Djiboutian instead of ours. So there's wars from in and out and about. Economically, if these countries was to shut down everything, and I can bet you Congo is right there behind Sudan. Congo ndo itakuwa mbaya because of that gold that is being smuggled into with the UAE. Bernard, we are headed for a very bad time economically in our country, because with us, the worst thing that we ever did is actually close our parastatals. And I say this with na uchungu sana. With even uchumi, pan paper, everything that we knew. Today there's a clip of just because we refused for KICC to be sold, Now they have these guys who have come. It's called dancing fountains. You know, dancing fountains, which actually there's not even a contractor of Kenya that has done that thing. So basically, still KSCC was sold. It was never sold as an entity. It was sold the workings of it. There's no Kenyan who has done that. So what I'm saying economically, Bernard, if you do the economical math of like I think I know the coffee that comes from Sudan. It's called there's two different kind of coffees, and the trade between them. But again, I also think it's a good thing so that we start thinking with all these trades that we are hearing, there are billions and billions and billions. Where do they go if we cannot subsidize the people of our country, but yet we are making all these billions? But then when we start saying subsidize us for this, they say no, we are not going to subsidize anything. We are going to subsidize. We are not going to subsidize for whatever they decide what they are going to subsidize. What do they subsidize? They subsidize something coming from Ukraine, which is the fertilizer, which also now, Bernard, I wish you could tell the people that even that fertilizer now, it has been banned, that it's expired in the gallows. And that came from Ukraine for free. So these trades that you are doing with other countries, what are they helping the Kenyan person? Because it seems there's no subsidies, and the reason of having parastatals and also doing the trade with other countries is to subsidize the Kenyan person so that they're not paying as much levy as they're supposed to do. But then again, we see the taxes going up, but so much trade, and when we are hit with one, we are complaining. Macro and microeconomics do not work like that. Bernard, I can bring the numbers here and we can work on them. Come on, we want to do a show on that. It does not work like that. That the reason of a country to do business with another country is to subsidize themselves and actually increase their forex exchange capability and power of their money. So the Kenyan shilling to grow so that you have power. And that also extends to a point of diplomacy, and the diplomacy is also your passport to be someone like Botswana who can walk in any country in this world without even having to pay a visa because the fact that they come from Botswana. But us, nowadays, we've deteriorated ourselves that our passport is losing value day by day. Is because of the forex exchange, forex currency, and how we relate with other people. Now we are being beaten by, we're getting sanctions from Sudan. You think these other people who thought Kenya was the hub, they're going to come and do any business with us? It's just going to be going. That's what it is. And Bernard, let me fungia hapo hivyo, because when it comes matters forex exchange and the power of a country, the power of a person, and the global geographical and diplomatic issues, I become that's a very touchy thing for me. Wacha kwanza nyamazia hapo niachie watu wengine.
Okay, in the interest of time, let's please mind time so that we finish on good time. Mama Selina is still on the phone. Frahabad, please come in. Furaha ni kama ametimuliwa. Mama Selina, umemalizana simu?
Nilikuwa napata mchukuu.
Umepata mjukuu, congratulations.
Umepata saini saa 9 ama saa 8?
Karibu saa 9, ni saa 8 na dakika 39.
Oh wow, yeah, saa nimeng'ang'ana ni mchukuu ameingia.
Praise God.
Amen, thank you.
Yeah.
So ndio unaona nimekuwa hapa na simu. Alafu Bernard, as we are talking, tumekuwa na hiyo by election ilikuwa ya Uganda. I want you to get that video ya police pile wamefanya watu in that by election. It is good to see what is happening in our neighbors and see how far we are as Kenyans. If you want me to send you, I will send you.
WhatsApp audio.
Sasa wacha nipokee nipeane China ya mchukuu.
Wewe fanya naming, lalafu utanitumia video discuss kesho. Big J.
Thank you Bernard. Kwanza najua niona Kawira Mwangaza ame PO Box home. Of course najua shida ya judiciary pia it's under the executive, so president akiingilia mtu ataenda watafanya appeal tena itupiliwe mbali, semekana huyo judge alikuwa na makosa.
Is it executive or just the judiciary? Don't forget Wambora.
Nasema
yes,
like sometimes the court inaamuanga, for example vile amesema Mwangaza uphold Senate. Sasa wataenda kwa appeal, Mwangaza akienda kwa appeal, executive inapiga simu nasemekana huyo judge alikuwa na alikuwa na makosa, alikuwa amekosea mahali. So
that is what I'm saying. Wambora, the former Embu governor, he was impeached, I think was it 4 times?
4 times, yeah.
Yes, by the Senate, by his, of course, local MCAs, and then the Senate. And he always went to court, and the court always left him until he served for 10 years through the courts. So,
yeah.
Is it the executive interfering, or is just our courts? You see the way we've been tumeanikwa. Mnaenda kwa district magistrate court mnapita, high court mnapita, ikifika court of appeal mnapita, lakini enda Supreme Court throws away everything that everyone was saying along the way. So is either our courts have been arranged in such a way that they undo the justice that has been offered by junior courts when it goes to the Supreme Court. And I can see this Mwangaza thing will go up to the Supreme Court. She's not going home like that.
Yeah, she cannot go. Unajua, because they have done a lot of bad things. Ndio Bernard nilikuwa anasema kuna counties zenye hazina maana. They are just consuming money from the national government, from Kenyans. Hebu endo uangalie saa hizi ukiangalia county kama county yangu Narok na Kajiado, what have they done? Nothing. Endo uangalie county kama Nyamira, wamefanya nini? Hakuna. It doesn't, ni watu tu wameajiriwa kazi wanapata mshahara. So I think it's a high time that afadhali hata hizi county Narok na tuseme na Kajiado ishikanishe kwa county moja. This a lot of counties they are doing. I think that is another big issue that we have. That I think next time maybe kukiwa na watu sober, they will think like that, because definitely ile pesa inatumika. Hebu angalia kama ile ya Narok, hospitali imejengwa na almost 600 billion, imebakisha tu finishing, lakini mwenye naye anakuja naweka another 600 billion na haijasonga even an inch. So that is the biggest another big problem that we have. Devolution is good, yes, but do we have the way that we can protect that devolution? Seriously, there is a lot of mimi kuna vitu mimi sielewi Bernard. Kuna vitu anyway Bernard, I'm so sad about my party, what is going on in my party. Very sad, and I'm not going anywhere. Sitoki mahali niko hapo, and I will be talking from inside. The thing, what is happening now at supporting the government is pathetic. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing because the way the values and the standards and the values, ODM was something different. So when we go there and I don't know, I don't know.
No, but I don't think it's anything permanent. I don't think it's anything permanent. It's
but already,
just
Bernard already tumejichafua.
it makes not, unajua wanasema mtoto akijichafua kwa mkono, you don't cut the hand, he wash it.
Yeah, we don't cut the hands, but you see now we are already in that dirt. That means we are already smelling. We are smelling that.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. From my pastoral point of view, there is that aspect of the rescue responsibility. When you go to eat with sinners and eat with publicans, and then of course that doesn't stop you from being Jesus. Jesus was accused for the same. Now, I'm not saying that everything is right, but if it's a means to a better end, is better than for us to have a situation whereby everything collapses and everybody's folding their hands. There is what happens when desperation sets in a country. You remember Mobutu Sese Seko and all those dictators, wakiwa 11th hour, and they know they are not going to survive, they are not going to get this done. What happens? They loot anything and everything and leave the country hollow and with nothing.
Nyinyi kaeni huko, sisi tulitoka kitambo bwana, na ilikuwa yetu pia.
So why are you now disturbing me? Mkenya, wewe ulikuwa na nafasi yako. I am giving a scenario. It's not even defending the party. It is a scenario of, some of us don't appreciate the kind of situation we're in as a country. We think it's a joke. The country cannot be, governed anyhow. Just like you come to your house and you find your kitchen is on fire, you will do anything to stop the fire. You don't say wacha ichomeke yote ikisha nitaenda kujenga ingine. Nobody does that. And so we seem to be so caught up into tuchome kila kitu tutajenga. And I have always given here the story of Frank. Okay, Frank was in the forefront, and we are part of the inspiration that say tutoke tuende kutoa Ruto and all that. And then he ends up with 6 bullets. Okay. Fortunately, by God's grace, he survives after 6 surgeries to correct whatever that was wrong. And then we now come up with this program. Let's support Frank. And then we can hardly get 5 people. Okay. Wakati tulikuwa hapa tusema tokeni tuende, we were thousands and thousands. But now let's support this person that fall a victim through our encouragement and our inspiration. Everybody fold their hands. So kuchoma tuko tayari, lakini kishachomeka tujenge. Hakuna mtu anajitolea kujenga. So it's
but Bernard, Kenya is bigger than ODM. If something is wrong, call it wrong. It doesn't matter where you belong. If you're black, you're black. If you're white, you're white.
There's nobody talking about ODM. I'm talking about Kenya as a country. So tafadhali, remove ODM from your mouth. ODM is not the only political party, and it's not the only political party working with Ruto. Jubilee was the first one. ANC, for the Kenya, which one? Many political.
Kalonzo is having meetings every night, so we are waiting for Kalonzo to go in. So let's wait. We will celebrate.
Even Kalonzo is gone. All the old guards, all of them.
What we are simply saying is, when things have gone wrong, okay, there is how to get them right. And that getting them right is not a one straight line. It will be naive for you to think that when things have gone wrong, you will just, lift the rod of Moses and the rod of Moses will solve everything. It doesn't work that way. The worse things get, the harder it is to correct them. And that correction will have all manner of give and takes, all manner of what do we forego here. Like uko na shilingi tuseme 1,100, okay? Lakini bills zako zile unapaswa kulipa ni 1,500. You will not say that nitalipa hii 1,100 kwa mtu mmoja alafu nifukuza hao wengine. You must enter into negotiation. Put those bills according to categories, to priority. Naweza patia huyu 20 nimwambia anipatie muda kidogo, huyu naye nimpatie 30 anipatie muda kidogo. You make do with what you have so that you get to where you're going. That is just a reality of everything, including your home, your house. But if things goes wrong and everybody wants to ban everything because they think that they can rebuild, it is easier to think you can rebuild until the call to rebuild has been placed. I still insist. Just like we're having a hard time to get people to support Frank, it will be the same thing. Tukishachoma hiyo state house, tukachoma hiyo parliament, na tukafukuza kila mtu, when it comes to putting the country back on the track, itakuwa tena wapi hawa watu walisemanga hao ni viongozi, walisema watatusaidia. Please, let's talk like elders na tuache hii mchezo ya kufikiria kama watoto. It is important.
Bernard, you have stolen my time. Bernard, you have stolen.
Goja. Let's provide leadership as elders and not like children. I'm saying that not to insult anybody. I'm just quoting a proverb in a village. Ati mtoto akishashiba lunchtime anaambia mama tuchome store kwa sababu anafikiria hata sikia njaa tena. That's what I'm talking about. Lakini wewe kama mama unajua kwamba hata kama ameshiba saa hii, by around 4 atakuwa anaitisha snack. But wakati ameshiba anafikiria hata wai kusikia njaa tena. Nasema tuchome hii store, hakuna haja ya kuweka chakula hapa. I am satisfied. No, we need to think differently, work with what we have to get where we are going until there is a proper alternative. But enforcing change by force, by all means, without kwanza mngenipatia tu alternative ambayo ina work, I'll be the first one on that journey. But if you just tell us to destroy this, then what will we have left? You say we will think about it when we are finished destroying. Nobody does that in their home. We cannot do that to the country. I think it's irresponsible if we try.
But we have alternatives. Bernard, we have leaders in Kenya. We don't have to go with anything. You are a leader. You tell us what you want, then we come with you.
I'm not talking about leaders. I'm talking about structures that work by reason of constitutional provision. That's the bedrock of our country.
The Constitution never said anyone that has to be in the government has to be leaning to one side. The Constitution, chapter 1, chapter 2, and 56, all of them say that as long as you're a citizen of Kenya, you can actually do whatever you want to do, even running for a political seat. It doesn't have to be an organized criminal organization.
Not by coming from Karura and you're declared president. It's a
so why do we have independent candidates? We'll take independence.
There is an election process. That election is presided over by the IEBC. For it to be official, it has to be ratified. That's following the Constitution. You don't just say we have chased this one, we can now replace him with this one. It doesn't work that way. And you know that. Everybody here knows that. That creating a constitutional crisis has consequences. Just like Ruto chased away the Cherera 4, who has suffered the most after the Cherera 4 went. He's the one suffering the most. Okay? He's now walking with one leg. His part is broken in many pieces. He doesn't know how to bandage them. He created a problem thinking that creating of a problem will help him. It has destroyed him. So the same thing, we create a problem because we think we hate one person that want to chase or two people want to chase. We must have provision on how we get out of that crisis we are causing. Well, Mkenya mkora, tukiendaga for secondary school football match, okay? Zile zinakuanga za inter wherever. Alafu mnataka kufungua vita. Hakuna kufungua vita kama muna exit strategy. Mtachapwa, ninyi ndio mtachapwa. Mpaka kukuwe na nini? Nani ataanzisha? Na akianzisha hivi, kukianza kwenda hivi tutatoka aje hapa? So kama mna hali ya vile mtatoka aje hapa, hamwezi kuanzisha vita kwa stadium. So mtuonyeshe ile njia vile tutatoka hapa. Tukiiona tutawafuata. Lakini kama ni kusema tu tuchome tuende kwa sababu lazima kila kitu ichomeke alafu itamea tena. This is not a farm. Hii sio grass ile ya Nyayo ya Jomo Kenyatta Airport. Ikishachomeka kumenyesha sahi itaota. No, the country is different. It's just like you keep your home, you keep your country. Farahaban, well, please.
Unajua the United States had to go to a civil war, wakachoma kila kitu. I mean, not kuchoma, lakini is just, and even constitutionally that you refer to when you talk about your constitution. You understand some people actually had to go to some civil wars and say, look, enough is enough. We are not going to deal with oligarchs. We are not going to do whatever. We are going to start a new agenda of our country. So when Bernard, when you hear this, si ati kuna mtu anagonga mtu mwingine ama chama, we are just saying that it has come a time that we look at a read to a point of nukiona watu wengine tumefurahi that we are getting sanctions from Sudan na nini. We want to get our own running lane.
They had to go to civil war as a provision of the constitution, or those are exceptions. Exceptions means we are in a particular circumstance, and the only way out of here is through the wall, okay? And you will opt to go through the wall because all the gates are locked, all the doors are locked, and your options are limited. As long as there is a better way out, that one of it is even negotiate your way out, you should opt for it. The going for civil war and fighting physically, it should be the last resort. And as a result of having no other options. I don't think we have run out of options. Those leaders you're talking about that are in this country are there, but they must be brought into the limelight and brought into office through proper means. Without them coming into office through proper means, we create the same problem and multiply it. Just like somebody
going to office without a chat.
Abuses the office, the same thing.
Bernard,
you go and pick whoever you want to pick, bring them in the office irregularly and see what they will do in that office because they are in irregularly.
Bernard, going to office without a specific party, that's the reason that Chapter 138 actually advocates for and allows for independent people to come in, because any Kenyan in Kenya, regardless of if you have a party, you can actually run. I can run without saying any party. Omtata doesn't have a party.
We are not talking about independent. Why are you mentioning party? I'm talking about if you are going to run as independent, you must be cleared by IEBC. Okay? And you must participate
by good conduct, certificate of good conduct.
You must participate into a general election or a specific election. Then you get elected. Then you get sworn into office. It is not that you like Bernard, he speaks good English, leta yeye hapa kwa sababu hiyo ofisi iko vacant, ingia. Supported by what? If we don't have the support system, we are still part of the illegality. And as long as we're illegal, it doesn't matter how much we do in terms of saying that this is okay. It will still be problematic. So let's direct people rightly, and of course teach people the right way. The other wrong procedures, compromises here and there, coalitions here and there, those are just exceptions that are done because of certain circumstances. They are not meant to be the way things are done. These handshakes are out of order in the sense that they are done out of poor management of elections, declaring the loser winner and the winner the loser, and manufacturing things here, sandwiching things here, bandaging things here. Our country has been fixed here, fixed here, fixed here, fixed here.
It's broad-based in the Constitution.
It is not there. There's nothing broad-based, anything. What
independent candidate is in the Constitution, but you are against the independent Constitution, the independent candidate.
Bernard,
and you are
can you just
order, please. Inaonekana sasa mnataka back and forth. We don't need that. We are not advocating for political parties or not political parties. We are talking about managing the situation in the country so that it leads us to where we ought to go. That needs to be more for us to be more sober, more wiser, and of course deal with what needs to be done. So please, in the interest of time, it's already 3. Furaha, then Jakindu Bay, we get out of here.
Hello. On the ban that Sudan has imposed on Kenya, I think the overall perception is damaging, even if we may feel that the impact will be lower in terms of maybe Sudan needing us more than we need them. Always there's a sense in which if somebody declares diplomacy on you, that if somebody declares diplomacy, a difference in diplomacy, and it's a neighbor, the perception is damaging. I think these are some of the things that affected our credibility or our running for the AUC, you see, because the policies that we advocate for, some people felt that, there are African countries that didn't feel that they could support us, that they could rely on us. So that doesn't sit well. It just continues to create more dents on an already damaged international relations. And Kenya, just like I think somebody already mentioned that, Congo and other countries in the area, they don't see Kenya as a country that they want partnership with. They're not comfortable. They don't trust us enough. And so I think that doesn't sit well with us as a country. The other issue that is being brought here are changes that we want to make in our country. Like I've always said, you can use the means that you have, but if they fail you, sometimes you use unconstitutional means. But just the way you're saying, that also has to be planned. You see, last year, such a means almost got us somewhere. The reason it did not reach its intended goal was because there was no clear vision, there was no clear plan. People who have fought the civil wars, Martin, if you want to be the Karl Marx, if you want to be the Martin Luther King, you have to stand out there and be counted. Just the way we have already commented on, it's good to say, let's go, let's rally. And then once people are out there, when you come back, watu wanaanza kuitana betrayers, wasaliti, traitors, because there was no clear plan in the first place. There was no clear vision. Less of the constitutional means that we have right now. In the absence of a clear path of an unconstitutional means of taking power from Ruto. We have to stick to the plan. Exists what is available for us. Are we looking at the panel? You know, the shortlisting has been done. There are these 11 people. You know, are we prepared to make sure that we get the right people? If we don't have the right people amongst these 11, can we get a new one? Because the other day I was sharing, just looking back at some of these elections, even just the nullification when it happened, we were here saying that you cannot go to the same field with the same referee messed you up and have a fair take. And it went to court. And do you remember on that day when there was supposed to be a sitting of the Supreme Court, one Njoki Ndung'u could not get to Nairobi from somewhere here in Kenya. I don't know, Smoking Wanjala was unwell. The deputy CJ, the current deputy CJ, I think there was an attack on the driver. And so there was no quorum. You know, as simple as that, a process got defeated. So this country, we have to be totally smart. We only had Lenaola and Maraga, and now there was no quorum, and a decision couldn't be made. And now we have the rerun. It was said that now, in the absence of a new decision, then the rerun will just be done. Really, it will just be done the same way. And so the contenders boycotted. So there's so much that goes on that we should be alive to. I keep saying, those of us who are tech savvy, this is the time. If we can't go to the street, we don't have the muscle, we don't have the energy, or we don't have the drive, or we don't have the push because we think, I don't know, somewhere along the line we lost it. One of the things we can push for is to have a totally digital election. But manually, mix, and then, you know, books are here. You have two sets of registration books or election forms, and now people can add from this booklet to the other booklet. Those are the things that we need to look at before even we get to the ballot. Before we get to the ballot, the playing field has to be streamlined, and then we can be able to win it clean at the ballot. But if we are here and we are not laying down the plans, and time is running out, like now that panel will be out, and then we will, you know, get maybe a compromised IEBC. We keep saying we think the Secretariat has an issue. Why can't we push for those things the same way we pushed for the finance bill? Why can't we push for some of those things to be corrected? We are not going with Marjan. We don't want him anywhere because he was here and we saw exactly what they were doing and how they compromised that system. So I think that is where my mind is in terms of being alert to what really matters. When we talk and we shout and we say, "Oh, this person betrayed us," sometimes it's just because we are not putting our energy and the drive where it needs to go. Let's put our brains, let's put our brilliance, let's put our intellect, our skills where it matters, so that, you know, as young people, those are the places where I think the young people have the greatest strength. That is where they're, you know, just getting your even MPs to support. They don't work for us. They don't work for us. If we can push them and they realize that people are serious, hata hawa wataenda nyumbani, maybe they'll pick the drive. But as long as we are thinking we have a shortcut to getting Ruto out before 2027, if you're not out there saying, I am the one who's offering myself, that Ruto goes and I take it. And like we are saying, I can't just walk in there as Joy and say, Ruto is out, now it's my turn. Because I'm not the deputy president. I'm not, you see, the constitution will not allow me to go in there and take it unless it's a coup. Yeah, unless I've commandeered a coup. So I think there's a lot of soberness that we need just to let's come back to reality. Say what can work, what can't work, what can we do, what can't we do. Then from there we lay our plans and say this is the strategy. Can we mobilize people around this strategy so that as we go forward we have a plan for now and for 2027. For between now and 2027, this is the roadmap. If we need to change it along the way, so be it. But there is a roadmap. That roadmap is what I'm not seeing for now, Bernard.
Okay, thank you for that. We appreciate that, and I believe everybody understands that. Probably a lesson from our history. You have had the lamentation of Mau Mau freedom fighters when they were in the bush fighting to chase away Mkoloni. The home guards took over government, shared the loot. By the time they were coming from the bush, there was nothing left for them. That is what we are talking about. We can go and chase Ruto out of town. Tukimfikisha airport, by the time we come back to State House Road, it is taken over. And those who have taken over are worse than Ruto himself. So we go back to the bush to fight again. Just check our history. How many times did the Mau Mau fighters go back to the bush to fight now they are black new colonialists? Jakindu Bey, karibu.
Asante Bernard, nimefurahi sana kukuona kwa studio. Karibu. Nimewasalimia wote. Nimefurahi kuwa na ninyi siku ya leo, na nasema furaha, nasikitika sana vile unavyosema kwamba tuko na intelligence, sijui tufanye namna gani. Hizo vitu nataka kukuambia, hatuwezi kufanya hizo vitu ambazo unasema kama bado tuko walafi vile tulivyo. Sisi wa Kenya, kusema ukweli kabisa, mimi niliona serikali ya Kenyatta, ya Moi, ya Kibaki, ya Uhuru na ya Ruto sahi. Hawa wote ambao tumewachagua ni watu ambao hawapendi mageuzi, na hizi vitu mageuzi ambayo tunataka ndio ingetuletea uzuri ambao tunataka. Lakini sisi wenyewe wa Kenya tunachagua wale watu ambao wataki mageuzi. Hawataki wanataka tu vile ilivyokuwa. Kwa sababu ukiangalia bila ulafi, kama sisi wa Kenya tungekuwa na ulafi, tungekuwa sahihi, tungekuwa na Afrika Mashariki, strong East Africa. Sisi ndio tuliua East Africa kwa sababu ya ulafi, kwa sababu ya sisi ubinafsi. Hatutaki hata hii fujo ambayo sasa inatokea kati yetu na Sudan. Haifai kitu kama hiyo kutokea. Kama tungekuwa watu ambao si walafi, na ukiwa mlafi huwezi kutii sheria. Sisi hatutii sheria, hatutii. Hakuna sheria wa Kenya wanatii, kwa sababu nimeona hata ile ripoti ya kwamba mtu aligongwa na nia ya motorcade ya president. Watu wamegongwa wengi, watu wanauawa ovyo tu na hakuna kitu, kwa sababu sisi wa Kenya ni wa binafsi. Mtu anauawa, anafanyiwa dhambi, kwanza Mkenya anaangalia ni kabila gani. Kama si kabila lake ashughuliki, hiyo ni shauri ya hiyo kabila. Siku tutakuwa tunasikia uchungu kwa mtu yoyote, kwa kosa lolote imefanyika Kenya, imefanyika sehemu yoyote nchini, hapo tutakuwa na mageuzi. Lakini vile tulivyo sahihi, angalia tu, angalia akina Pinto waliwao, kina Mboya anauawa tu mchana tu, watu JM anauawa kama mnyama, watu wakiona tu na wengi tu, na hata ukisema intelligent sisi. Msandu juzi alijitokeza hapa ku make sure kwamba uchaguzi tumefanya digital, na alifanywa nini? Si aliuawa hapa tu na tukiona. Na Wakenya wamefanya nini? What did we do as a Kenyans? Wakenya, kwa sababu huyu ni mtu tunataka atufanyie, walikuwa wanaangalia mambo ya uchaguzi na akawawa. Na hata wakati aliwawa, asubuhi kuna ma MPs wengine kama Moses Kuria alitoa maneno machafu sana. Wakenya wanasahau haya. Alafu sahihi wanasema sijui eti kuna betrayal. Wakenya wenyewe, sisi Wakenya wenyewe hatujiamini, hatupendi mageuzi, kwa sababu Moi alikuwa kwa serikali alikuwa vice president wa Kenyatta, alifuata tu zile vitu Kenyatta alikuwa anafanya, mambo ya ukoloni. Kutoa Moi tumemweka Kibaki naye alikuwa to the same, hakuwa ni mtu hakutaka mageuzi, hakutoa mageuzi. Kutoa huyo tumeweka Uhuru, ambaye hata wakati tumemchagua walikuwa wote wameshtakiwa. Ruto the same. Wale watu ambao wale ambao walikuwa wanapigania mageuzi tumewakataa. Alafu hao watu wakisema okay, mmetukataa sasa, okay, hao watu wenu mna nani, sawa, waendelee. Sasa wamekuwa traitor. Ni sisi wa Kenya ni lazima ndio maana nasema Bernard, hao wa Kenya tunataka ni vizuri tuseme namna gani, tuokoke, tuangalie haya mambo yanafanyika namna gani, kwa sababu Kenya unakuta uchaguzi imefanywa, imepelekwa kotini, imepatikana hiyo uchaguzi imefanywa vibaya, hakuna mtu anaadhibiwa, hakuna. Alafu huyo mtu ambaye amesupervise uchaguzi ikifanywa vibaya bado ndio anarudi kufanya the same thing. Jamani, hiyo wapi intelligence yetu? Hiyo kama tunataka tu kuwa watu wenye mtu ameshaharibu, ametia serikali hasara, ametutia sisi kama wananchi wa Kenya hasara, kwa sababu lazima turudie uchaguzi. Alafu huyo mtu, hakuna mtu aliadhibiwa, hakuna hata mtu mmoja. Kwani hizo makosa ilifanyika namna gani? Unaweza kaangalia kama vitu kama hizo inaonyesha kwamba sisi ni watu ambao hatutii sheria. Kwa hiyo kama tunakataa kutii sheria, hakuna kitu chochote tunaweza kufanya kizuri, kwa sababu hata hao ambao wamekufa ambao tunasema alikanyagwa, hakuna kitu itafanyika. Baraza aliua mtu hapa, si bado ni MP, na saa hii akienda kwao anahutubia na watu wanampigia makofi. Ni kitu ambacho sisi wote wa Kenya tunataka tujiangalie na tutubu kwamba sisi wote tunahitaji umoja wetu wote, sio kulaumu watu wengine. Watu ambao sasa hivi wanalaumiwa, hawa watu wamefinywa kweli kweli, wengine wamekufa. Wale ambao walijitokeza, wapi matiba? Wapi nani? Wapi Rubia? Na wengi tu wakina Mwandawiro wako wapi? Hata mkimlaumu huyu mzee Raila, amejaribu, Amejaribu sana. Hawa watu wameteswa, wale walikuwa wanajitokeza, na sisi hatuwapatii usaidizi, watusaidie kuleta mabadiliko. Alafu tunawalaumu tu kila mara, ni wao ndio tunawataka wakae pale mbele. Tafadhalini wa Kenya, mimi naomba wa Kenya wote tufikirieni vizuri zaidi vile tunaweza kujikomboa. Ni lazima tuwe watu ambao wanatii sheria na tuwe na upendo kwa watu wetu wote. Asante sana Bernard.
Okay, thank you, Jakindu Bey. That's clear enough, and a sense of responsibility. The whole world will be clean if everybody swept their doorstep. Let's not go out there to clean the world, leaving our doorstep that is dirty. Let's begin where we are. Do much we can. Dismissing what other people that have done before you show them what you can do and what you have done, that implicates you. Let's focus and do the right thing. I think we have already crossed my timeline. Naomba tafadhali tutamatishie hapo. Kesho taanza mapema, takuwa hapa. Naomba tafadhali tukuje studio mapema. Ili tukimaliza tumaliza vizuri. Nimejaribu kutafuta Alexio hayuko, na kama vile nimesema maboys hawapo mpaka Monday, so we'll continue doing what we are required to do. But in the meantime, please, in your own little way, in your own special way, be part of the change you require. I wanted to ask how many Gen Z and young people applied for the chairmanship of IEBC. They were not eligible. Did you have age limit? That is one. Secondly, sanctioning of the parliament to do the right thing. What are we putting there as modalities? The finance bill is in the process. We have public participation and all that is taking place across the country. Which input are we putting in as young people? Change people. The people that are pro-change. We want new approach towards taxation, new approach towards the country's management. If we are still making noise and we are not writing in, I remember my pastor friend in 2010, when the evangelical church members came now and said they don't want the constitution because it has introduced Kathy Scott's. It was a very strong debate. And so this my pastor friend akauliza, wakati maoni ya wale walikuwa naitwa experts waliitisha maoni, nyinyi mlikuwa kwa mlima mkiomba, okay, hamkupeleka maombi. Waislamu wakakuja wakasema wanataka hii na hii na hii, ikawekwa kwa katiba. Ninyi mnakuja wakati hiyo yote imeshaandikwa, mnasema mlikuwa kwa maombi na tena hamuitaki. So kama kuna wakati wa kupeleka maoni, peleka maoni. Kama kuna wakati wa nini, usingoje kama kila kitu kimemalizika sema I don't like this, I don't support this, I reject this. Toa maoni yako kwa wakati, simamia haki kwa kila area, and then great change begins with small changes from where you are. So please, saidie Gen Z wapate ID, saidie Gen Z wa register as voters. IEBC ikiwa constituted, kwe present, let's put our input there. Kama kuna mtu with questionable character, nimeona jina huko na Nyachae, nimeona huko sijui Mandi or Manda, and this other nini, I think there are 3 people who are already, the media is giving them a head front. Let's dig those people out. Sisi ndio tunachambuanga, tunapata data. Let's dig those people out. If there is any question mark on them, let's go and reject them in parliament. And let's see who is going to force that they be in office when they have question mark on them. Tusipige tu kelele, tuwajibike. Asante. Mami, wewe ulikuwa kwa simu all through. Kama umemaliza wewe ndio utasema neno la mwisho. tupige kengele tutoke hapa.
Bernard, chenye naweza sema tu nikimaliza ni kwamba mimi ni sympathizer ya ODM, na kwa sababu wameenda kusaidia, kuna swali nataka niulize watu ya kwamba wakifanya mzuri, kwa sababu ukienda nyumba imechomeka hauendi kuendelea kuweka mkuni, unasima. So kama hii 2 years watasave hiyo serikali na isimame, kwa sababu hatutaki nchi yetu iharibike. What will people come and say? Kwa sababu watu waoni mambo, wanaona tu vile wanataka. Mimi ile kitu naomba tu wale wameenda kusaidia waende wasime moto, wasiwaongeze kuni, wasaidie, waichenge, alafu 2027 tutasema tuliingia pale tukasaidia, nyumba ilikuwa imeisha, ilikuwa mapati ilikuwa zimeanguka, tumerekebisha na imekuwa mzuri. Asante, hiyo tu ndiye nafungia.
Okay, sawa, tutaanzia hapo katika kipindi kinachofuata. Naomba tafadhali kama subscribe. Kama hujatuma mchango wako tuma. Nashukuru kwa wale ambao mshatuma. And then of course Frank has been here for class. Ameenda kuona shosho leo. Atarudi tena Monday. Tuendelee kumsupport na kumuombea. Of course we must make him succeed. They took him to Fixing the Nation on, which day was that? Thursday. I went with him at NTV. Wale ambao mnaonanga NTV mliona akiongea huko na hiyo maswala. So it's a building process. It will not be done by miracle. It will take effort and dispensing of energy and of course a lot of investment. So tusilege katika kusupport channel na kusupport wale watu wote ambao wanahitaji huo msaada. Let's not fold hands and think that things will take place by themselves. If nobody does anything, nothing gets done. Otherwise, thank you so much. After the show, please share the video widely, and then of course, get more people to subscribe. We are plateaued at 6K. Let's get to 10K. Everybody bringing 10 people every week will get to the 10K without much effort. So tafadhali kama unaenjoy hii show na unaenjoy hizo show zingine tunaleta, tunakuomba tafadhali kuwa ambassador wetu. Usikue tu you sneak here and sneak out. Ijulikane kule unaenda kujificha ni wapi, unafanya nini huko. Thank you very much. God bless you. Tukutane tutakapokutana.
Watu wa Mungu, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kipindi cha mahubiri kimerudi tena kwa kishindo kwenye Sound Candy Talk. Tunakufundisha, kukuelimisha na kukutia moyo kwenye Daily Bite. Mafundisho kamili ya Biblia kila siku kwenye runinga uipenda ya Sound Candy Talk.
But the unthinkable happened. Police opened fire on unarmed demonstrators, killing over 20, injuring many, and leaving others unaccounted for. Frank was among the victims. Hit by 6 bullets, yet by God's grace, he survived. After a series of life-saving surgeries, Frank can now walk again. But the bullets left a lasting impact. He can no longer perform heavy-duty jobs to support his grandmother. In their iron sheet home, deep in the slum, is inaccessible by vehicles. In case of a medical emergency, help is far out of reach. To make matters worse, the slum is plagued by insecurity, with daily cases of muggings and robberies. Despite all these challenges, Frank dreams of finishing his education, learning a trade, and building a better life for his grandmother, the woman who has stood by him through every storm. This is where we need your help. In the short term, we aim to move Frank and his grandmother to a safer home where they can access medical care and live without constant fear. Long term, we want to support Frank in completing his education, learning a profitable skill, and starting a small business. I've faced so much, but I'm still standing. I want to work hard, take care of my grandmother, and make her proud. I just need a chance. You can be the change in Frank's life. Every contribution, big or small, will go a long way in helping this brave young man and his grandmother rebuild their lives. Let's come together and help Frank fulfill his God-given destiny. God bless you. Send your donations to Sound Candid Talk, support Frank Okoth account. The link is in the description below. Together, we can make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video widely, and stay tuned for more inspiring stories on Sound Candid Talk.
Are you looking for video live streaming services? You want your church services to be on air? You do not know where to market your goods and services? At Sound Candid Talk, we deliver the best live stream services for your events, product and service launches, conferences, weddings, and lives. Reach on us today.